Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei was betrayed by girls and fell in love with Nagisa Furukawa Part 1. Before we start, please go support Linecrobel13 for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. This is the translated version I made. There will be some wrong he or she calling here because it's translated, so let me clear this. Issei is a male in this story. Chapter 0. Hyoudou Issei. It has been a long time since the defeat of Nasrg, Rizavam and Kakabiel. In fact, 7 years have already passed. So many things have happened during that time, but that will be for another day. In the courtyard of the Hyoudou territory we can see two small children playing, one of them a black-haired boy with brown locks and green eyes with blue glasses. He is Sunohara Antle. Next to him, a small brunette with a blue dress, white stockings, brown shoes and a white hat with blue stripes. "Dad," said the little brunette when she saw that imposing and muscular brown-haired man dressed in an elegant wine-colored suit. Next to him he walked a red-haired man with yellow eyes dressed in a black suit, a black-haired man with blue eyes, and imposingly dressed in a navy blue suit, and finally a somewhat older brown-haired man talking pleasantly with the red-haired man. "Uncle Yuhei," she said, hugging the black-haired man while smiling quite happily. "Dad," he said before. "What's up, do you want to play?" Sunohara asked. "No, uncle, tell us Dad's story again," said the little brunette. "Ahaha Ushio, come I'll tell you again," said the imposing chestnut. "Wow, Issei, I wanted to tell you," said Sunohara. "Ahaha, I feel better, I want to hear the story one more time," said the old chestnut tree. "A certain son tells your story," said the reed. Issei narrates. "Well, a long time ago when I was 17 years old I was a somewhat perverted young man, but still a boy with great aspirations to be the king of the harem, although the girls hated me because of my way of being no matter what. One day I was doing my thing with my two best friends Mitsuda Iswaki and Motohama Takumi. We barely managed to escape from the furious girls of the kendo club. That day I saw her, a beautiful reed with eyes like sapphires. She certainly captivated me. My friend Motohama told me that her name was Ria's Gremory, a girl from class 3, and she was from Scandinavia. That day I not only saw her, but I met the woman who started it all, Amano Yuma, also known as Rainer. I remember meeting her on the way home. She confessed to me that she loved me and wanted to be my girlfriend. I foolishly accepted without knowing that that weekend I would meet a real soulless crow. I had a wonderful date with her, but in the end she killed me with a spear of light. Before falling unconscious, I saw that reed look at me and come closer to say, 'You will live for me.' As time passed, I began to adapt to my new life, because it turns out that reed was a demon, but just because she was a demon doesn't mean she was bad, rather capricious. Ushio, don't ever tell her I said that. Hiya Tausa. Well, as I was saying, I began to adapt to my new life as a demon. I even met a pretty blonde with emerald green eyes. Her name was Asia Argento. She was a nun who had been transferred to my city, but she was lost, so I took her near the only church in the city, since as you know in Japan Shinto predominates par excellence. Hahaha. Anyway, I started to see her more often, and we always met in a small park near the house until that day. I met that damn scavenger crow Rainer again. She attacked me and took Asia, who cried when she saw me hurt. My Maria's Gremory got angry with me for befriending a nun, but she decided to help me save her. It was a tough battle, since there were 3 other carrion crows in the place, but my Maria's took care of them. I tried to save my friend and I arrived late. She died when her sacred gear was extracted. In a fit of rage, I awakened my true sacred gear, which was the legendary boosted gear, the powerful left arm of the Red Dragon Emperor. You flatter me, friend. You're welcome, Drag, whatever it takes. I managed to defeat that fallen angel who begged for her life, but her pleas fell on deaf ears, and I annihilated her with one attack. Sorry Ushio, Dad was very aggressive. Haha. But Dad is very nice when he's not destroying moons. Ushio, you know I had no choice that time. Haha. Hi, but people still talk about that time. They even say in kindergarten that it was a US weapon used in Japan. I know it was Uncle Azazel's idea. Sigh, I still miss the old man. Why did you have to die, Azazel? Uncle, please continue. Don't be so anxious. My mistress managed to revive my friend by turning her into a demon, so I was very happy at that moment. We went through many adventures together until a roast chicken brain came to ruin everything. Dad, don't talk like that about Uncle Razor. I'm sorry. Haha. Anyway, he came to declare himself as Ria's fiancé, so he challenged us to a rating game. You should have seen his scared face when I defeated him using my incomplete balance breaker. Haha. Even though I sacrificed my arms in the middle of the fight. When I won, my love affair began and he asked me to be his boyfriend. I was surprised, but I accepted. They were very happy days until the arrival of that damn son of Sorry Ushio. You know how I get when they talk or mention that Raven turned into stardust. Continuous Atausa. Calm down, Ushio. Haha. Don't be so anxious. However, we barely managed to corner him since at that time he was not that strong, but at that moment I met him, my destined rival, the Hikuruko Volley Lucifer. Old man, I miss you along with Azazel. He defeated the damn piece of stardust with 2 blows, dividing his strength, and took him along with a renegade and insane priest, although now that I remember it, he made me laugh with his stupidities. Freed, I miss your stupidities. After that incident came problems for Dad and with them the alliance between the factions. The meeting where the alliance was to be agreed was interrupted and with it the fight between rivals took place. I accessed my full balance breaker for the first time and after a tough battle where blows came and went we tied in the stupidest way. I still wonder what a damn banana peel was doing on the ground and how it survived that intense battle, but most importantly, how the hell did we both stumble on the same peel and tie in such a humiliating way? Atausa empathized in such a funny way, haha. Anyway, in the end Uncle Biku went for him and took him away from the place. Well, we promised to have a less stupid meeting, damn banana peel. After that the alliance was formed and a new problem appeared, the Cows Brigade. We had several fights against them and my time with Rias was reduced to almost nothing, so our relationship was declining, but in the end things calmed down for 5 days because the raiding game of the new generation demons began, so Dad had to go train with an evil and soulless purple dragon that beat the shit out of your father for 30 days. I regret the beating I gave you afterwards, Tannen. After that I traveled to Kyoto where only problems awaited me because the hero faction had kidnapped the leader Yusaka, who they wanted to use to summon your grandfather Red. I would have defeated them in a second. Yes, but Kyoto would have disappeared. You're right. Once the raiding games began we faced several groups, although the toughest battle for me was against Diodora Asterith, who kidnapped Asia, and after a tough battle against him, we managed to defeat him. In the end I faced Ria's cousin, your Uncle Sareog. Uncle Sareog is still impressive, he can hold a fight for 5 minutes with Uncle Ice. Haha, in his dreams Antle doesn't last 3 minutes, Grandpa Red lasts even less, haha. Atausa, stop being so cruel to Uncle Sareog. Anyway, after beating him in an epic battle where he was left unconscious on his feet, the only time you were left like that after fighting me, Sareog Rias accepted the idea of having a harem. But the pleasure lasted very little when Loki appeared, who wanted to kill me along with Odin for being the only ones who could stop Ragnarok. However, with the help of Vali, I defeated him using Thor's hammer. Although I'm still surprised that he let me use it and that I was worthy of wielding such a powerful hammer. Why did he accept Mjolnir and why did Thor lend it to me in the middle of the battle, as if it were no big deal after that a guy called Shalba Beelzebub attacked, who was one of the leaders of the Cows Brigade. I will never forget that he lost to an electric shock from Rasay in his private parts and he barely escaped from the place. Some time later your grandmother office came home saying that she wanted to observe me, so she spent time with me and the girls. In one of my exams to ascend to middle class demon, I was attacked by the heroes faction where we fought to the death, although in the end that Shalba guy killed me with a spear that contained Samuel's blood, which is lethal to dragons, but not you precious. I don't understand his absolute immunity to Samuel's blood, it remains a mystery. Hi, Atausa, I promise I will never take anything a stranger offers me again. I almost died of fright when you drank that juice with Samuel's blood, but when I saw that nothing happened, I calmed down, hahaha, whatever. Your grandmother managed, together with Drake, to seal my soul in the boosted gear armor, and together with your grandfather Red, they created a new body for me which was much more powerful. When I returned I found some huge creatures attacking the underworld, so I began to fight against them and managed to annihilate them. With my help, son, with my help, haha. If whatever time later a vampire girl named Elmenhild Karnstein came to my house demanding that Gasper join the Carmilla to face the Teeps to avoid losing the civil war between vampires, and ended up blackmailing that in this way the vampires would join the alliance, so she retired so that we would think about it. Some time later the Cows Brigade attacked us at the academy, kidnapping the first-year members of the DXD, so we had to follow them to a pocket dimension where I faced an evil dragon named Grendel, whom I managed to seriously injure with Ascalon, and in the end the wizard who summoned him turned out to be your Aunt Graphia's brother. Elucid Lucifuge, who escaped from the place after telling us his identity. At the time Rias and Kiba went to Romania, and after being attacked by the Teeps, the rest of us went to save them. There I met your Aunt Lilith, and I had my first confrontation with Euclid, although he was not the only one I met since I had the misfortune of seeing the bastard Revivum. I also met Crom Cruash, the most powerful evil dragon only below Trihexa, who was a tough opponent. In fact, it was there where I obtained the power of the Diabolos dragon for the first time, and I was unconscious for a few days. Hehe, when I woke up I discovered that I had unlocked a new power called Longina Smasher, and Drake told me that this power came from a forbidden form of the boosted gear called Juggernaut Drive, which offered great power in exchange for my life, but Drake told me that my Diabolos dragon already surpassed that forbidden form, but to avoid falling into hatred, because that form would awaken and go mad until death, destroying everything in its path. How scary, Atausa. Don't worry, Ushio, Dad managed to seal that transformation years ago, haha, after destroying Larissa, Galadia and Proteus, haha. Atausa, tell me what happened next. Some time later we visited your Aunt Sauna's school to help in the classes, but we were attacked by the Cows Brigade, now known as Klepeth, and we managed to repel it with great difficulty. That was when I managed to defeat Euclid using one of the skills I stole from Volley called Wyverns, which could reflect and divide the opponent's powers and attacks. Some time later on a visit to heaven he was attacked by Klepeth, but we were able to repel him by defeating Layden, Apophis and Grendel. That was when I had my first encounter against Rizavam, who cancelled any attack I made until Drake told me about his special ability, which was Penetrate, which allowed me to hurt Rizavam, who told us that he had conceived the forbidden fruit and almost had everything to revive Trihexa. All this while he was escaping. Because of everything that had happened, my relationship with the girls was not moving forward, if not backwards, because we had no time for dates or going out due to the constant attacks of Klepeth. At that time we received a strange egg which was given to your grandmother, and curiously Krom Kruash was the day I found out that your grandparents were kidnapped by Rizavam, and after tracking them down, we managed to find them, but we were betrayed, and they forced me to. I took my dragon form in front of my parents, but they still accepted me despite no longer being human. We would always do it, son. I know, father, I know. At that moment Volley and Fafnir attacked Rizavam, but this assassin won the raiding champion, and with his soul, he forced the seal of the Trihexa, and at that moment Fafnir killed Rizavam, although later it turned out to be a clone of him. There were many battles where many died to try to seal the beast, who was transported through a dimensional fissure to the human world, where we had a very close fight. I still can't stop watching the video that Akasa recorded. If at that moment I used my Diabolo's dragon armor, and while I launched my super attack, the Infinite Blaster, I decided to combine it with my Longina Smasher. My goal was to weaken the Trihexa enough to signal it again, but inside me the ancient carriers made a forbidden chant, so I made another chant that would cancel that of the Juggernaut drive, and at the moment of finishing the gems of my armor turned white and a blood-red aura covered me, increasing the power of my attack and making the Trihexa retreat, and it was at that moment when your grandfather Red gave me part of his power and distracted the Trihexa with an attack ending its existence. After that my relationship with the girls ended, since things were a little awkward between us, and it was there that I began to train every day with your grandfather Red, and it was there that we discovered that in that state that specific attack. That is to say, the union between the Infinite Blaster and the Longina Smasher destroyed not only the body, but also the soul, and I'm glad about that even now, so I curse you Hyoudou Mario Wingdings Issei, because of you Azazel and Volley. Batausa, are you okay? You look upset. I remembered something unpleasant anyway. After that I spent some time alone, and one day on my way to the academy I met the most beautiful woman in the world and your mother. Third-person narration. A beautiful brunette in a pure white dress and a beautiful smile approached and hugged Issei from behind. Nagisa, said the brown-haired boy when he recognized her. That day was the happiest of my life and the one I will remember the most, along with the day of the Founders Festival, she said with a slight blush and a beautiful smile. Go on, Dad, I want to know more, said the little brunette on her father's lap. That's a story for another day, Ushio, said the brown-haired boy. Uatausa, said the little brunette making a cute pout. I promise I'll tell you later, he said with a smile as Nagisa picked up the little brunette. I'll go see them, Nagisa, he said a little seriously. Hi, come soon, I said Nagisa with a warm but sad voice at the same time. Hi, he replied sadly and left there in a dimensional fissure with his two parents of her, who had a sad look. When they arrived, they were in front of two graves, and as they approached their magical space, they took out a couple of bouquets of flowers and placed them on the graves. Long time no see, old man, Volley, said the brown-haired boy as a tear fell down his left cheek. Damn, Hyoudou Mario Wingdings Issei, your actions cost their lives, and this will not stay like this. I will bring destruction to your dimension, or is it not like that, Issei, said the brown-haired boy to see another brown-haired boy identical to him. Yes, because before creation comes destruction, he said, and an aura surrounded him and his eyes turned silver and bright. At his side was another Issei who was carrying a black notebook, and he spoke. Her dimension of Ella will pay for her sins of Ella, Irina's death will not go unpunished. Behind them a fissure appeared, coming out of it three more figures. One of them had purple eyes with rings in them, and another of them was identical to the Issei in a wine-colored suit and was escorted by a guy identical to him only with blonde hair. Bryle, are you ready, said the brown-haired boy next to him. Of course, Issei Nai-san, he said in a deep voice. We will show that dimension the pain, and I will show it the 6 paths, said the one with purple eyes with rings and 3 tomes in them. I will make them pay for the death of Bira-sama and Kaioshin-sama, said the silver-eyed one furiously. At that point a black-haired man with dark brown eyes and short hair appeared and said, do your best to disappear from the place. Hi Crobel-sama, they said in unison. Chapter 1. A new friend, a new love. Of Issei. It's been a while since the defeat of Trihexa, a formidable enemy. At first we had no chance, however Drake and I gave it our all. In the end it was Great Red who helped defeat him. Just when Drake and I were making a big attack with all our energies, I woke up 3 weeks later and Drake took a month. Some time later came the graduation of Riaz and Akeno. However, I would be happy if it weren't for the fact that they ended their relationship with me to go out with others. But it wasn't just them. The next was Asia, who fell in love with a newly transferred boy who came from Europe. Then it was Kaneko. She also fell in love with another boy who helped her in her math tutoring. For their part, Irina and Zinovia fell in love with some former members of the church. Roswius fell in love with a teacher from Belarus who was a fanatic of the Nordic. For their part, Kuroka and Lafay went with Vali on search missions to find members of Klepath or the Cows Brigade. For what, they no longer contacted me until some time later, when they informed me that they met an Ekamada who quickly fell in love with them. Office for her part left with Great Red, and when she came back, she only told me that now she saw me as the son of Great Red and her. All the girls in the end left me, but I don't blame them or hate them. In the end they didn't do it behind my back, and they decided to do it head on without lies, being completely honest. So I left things like that. Time has passed, and now I am alone walking in the city. Despite the loneliness, I will be able to find again at least a little happiness. Of normal. Issei was thoughtful and walking to the academy when he came across a girl with shoulder-length brown hair, wearing the Kuo Academy uniform, standing on the bridge where Issei first saw Vali. She looked sad, looked at the ground, took a breath, said, "Anpin, do you like this place?" "I really like it a lot, but nothing can stay the same forever. Happy moments, sad moments, it's inevitable that all of that will change." "Still, can you still like this place?" She must be talking to someone in her heart. Look for new things. If everything changes for better or worse, look for something new for yourself, so you can have more happy things and new friends, so you're not alone in this world. Let's go to school, we're running late, said Issei, smiling at the girl, who without saying anything, just looked at him until they both walked towards the academy in a comfortable silence. However, it was broken by the brown-haired boy. "I'm Hyoudou Issei, a pleasure," said the brown-haired boy, too a little nervous. I'm Furukawa Nagisa, nice to meet you Hyoudou-kun, said the young brunette with a slight smile, and they continued until they reached the academy. Nagisa had to go to the director's office to arrange her transfer to Kuo Academy, so Issei accompanied her on the way to the director's office and said goodbye to Nagisa. Issei entered his classroom and sat down. Mitsuda and Motohama approached him to talk. They looked quite excited. "Hey Issei, have you heard the rumor about the new girls who are going to enter the academy today and in our classroom?" Mitsuda said excitedly with a big smile. "They'll be pretty, I wonder." He couldn't finish because Issei interrupted him. "You're not planning on inviting them to see that, are you?" Issei said, looking at Motohama seriously. "No Issei, but to invite them to Karaoke to hang out," said Mitsuda excitedly. "Now I want to go too guys, Asia is never free anymore," said Ika, joining the conversation. Okay, the more the better," said Motohama, hesitating a little. "I think we've changed, don't you guys know?" Issei said thoughtfully. "I think you're right. It's been a long time since we spied on the Kendo club or watched gentlemen's performances," Mitsuda said, agreeing with Issei. "I stopped reading my magazines for high-class ladies a long time ago," said Ika. "I don't feel like spying or anything anymore," Motohama said seriously when the teacher entered the classroom and, "Well young people, today we have new classmates joining us, please come in and introduce yourself," said the teacher, to whom 3 girls entered the classroom. 2 of them had purple hair, however, one of them had long hair and purple eyes, while the other had short hair and blue eyes. The third girl was of average height, thin build and white complexion. Brown eyes and hair of the same color that fell to her shoulders. "Nice to meet you, I'm Fujibayashi Ryu, it's a pleasure." "Nice to meet you, I'm Fujibayashi Kayu. Please call me Kayu so that my sister and I don't get confused." "Nice to meet you," said the girl with long purple hair. "Wow, they are twins, they are very similar," said Murayama. "It's amazing, we have twins in the living room," said another boy. My name is Furukawa Nagisa, it's a pleasure." Nagisa smiled a little nervously. "Well, you can take a seat in the free places." They went where Asia, Zinovia and Irina sat previously. It must be said that everyone was jealous of Issei, however, Issei didn't pay attention to them as he watched Nagisa sit right next to him. So Zinovia and Irina are now in another class. "Ah, Hyoudou-kun, we're in the same class." "Yahaha," Issei laughed a little nervously, scratching his cheek. Thus the classes continued normally until it was time to leave, where Mitsuda, Motohama, Ika and Issei approached the new ones to talk. "Hello girls, we wanted to invite you to Karaoke today. Are you coming?" Ika said because she wanted them to trust her and the boys. "What do you say, Ryu? Let's go, it seems like it will be fun," said Kayu to encourage his sister Ella because she was eager to go, but without her sister Ella, she wouldn't go anywhere. "Oh sister, I don't know, should we go? Won't we bother them?" Ryu said nervously, but her sister approached her and said, They took the trouble to invite us, we should go, Caillou said quite excitedly. It's okay if you want to go, let's have fun, Ryu answered nervously quite. And you're going, Furukawa-san said Aika wanting to invite her but. I don't know what I should do, she said, quite nervous, since it was the first time she had gone to a place like that. Well, we're ready, Issei said out loud however. Girls shouldn't go with those three, they are perverts said Murayama. It's true that they could do something to them said Caddis, but before anyone else could speak Aika raised her voice. Now if they wanted to go they just had to say it, Issei can invite Kiba right? Aika said in order to convince Caillou and silence Murayama and Caddis. If Kiba-kun goes then we will go said Caddis while Murayama agreed. Okay, I'll call him, Issei said as he left the room with his phone to talk to Kiba. Hello Issei-kun, what's up? Kiba said into the phone. Hi Kiba, I wanted to ask you if you'd like to go to karaoke with me, the boys, and the new girls, Issei asked anxiously, since he wanted Kiba to go to keep Murayama and Caddis entertained and so they wouldn't tear in the outing with the new girls. Well Issei-kun, I'm free today, so who's going? Kiba asked. Bitsuda, Motohama, Aika, Murayama, Caddis and the three new girls in my class will go. Okay, Issei-kun, I'll see you at karaoke. Hey, I can go to karaoke too, Hyoudou-kun Kiba confirmed while a boy's voice could be heard in the background. Excuse me, Issei-kun, can a classmate from my class go? His name is Sunohara Yahei. He transferred today and wants to go. Can he? Kiba asked. Of course, the more the better, it could help distract Aika since she is a little sad because she hardly talks to Asia anymore. Well Issei-kun, see you at karaoke. Kiba, bring Gasper, I know he'll have fun. See you later, he finished saying as he hung up and entered the classroom, seeing how Murayama and Caddis looked at him expectantly. Kiba confirmed that he was going with two more and that they would meet us there at the karaoke, said Issei, while Murayama and Caddis celebrated that their prince would go. Now Issei-kun, I hope one of them is for me, Aika said jokingly. Don't worry, that's what the new student in Kiba's class is for, Issei said jokingly as well. You need company Kiryu, I just hope you don't do anything bad to the new one, Motohama said mockingly. Leaving jokes aside, let's go, Kiba and the others will catch up with us later said Issei. And so they left the academy heading to karaoke. While they walked Caillou told how because of the nonsense of two former classmates, they ended up changing academy since that nonsense caused the expulsion of the four, including her and her sister who were involved in it, while Nagisa walked next to Issei trying to talk to him, but his shyness did not allow it. This did not go unnoticed by the brown-haired boy who decided to speak. And Furukawa-san, what was the reason you were transferred to Kuo? Issei asked. Well, that's because of my physical condition. I have a strange illness, it causes fever and weakness for days, sometimes even for months, which is why I'm repeating a year. The doctor told my parents to send me to this city so they could investigate my illness and find a cure, said Nagisa, not realizing that everyone was looking at him a little sadly about it. Don't worry Furukawa-san, if the doctor said that they would find the cure here, it will surely be so, said Issei to encourage Nagisa and the rest, who worked since everyone began to give words of encouragement to Nagisa, who smiled gratefully and turned to look at Issei and said to him. Thank you Hyoudou-kun, you are a very kind person. Then he clenched his fist and said with determination, I will try harder. To which Issei replied, you're welcome, that's what friends are for, Nagisa he said smiling, call me Issei since from now on we are friends, said Issei without noticing that Nagisa had a big smile. Now Issei, not only are you Nagisa-chan's friend, I will also be your friend Nagisa-chan, said Aika speaking to Issei and then to Nagisa. Everyone was talking to Nagisa about their lives, while Issei was thoughtful when Drake interrupted him in his thoughts. Comrade, I know what the girl has, and I will tell you that it is not easy to treat in humans, but with Azazel's help, we can at least control the symptoms, Drake said in his mind to Issei. Azazel? We'll talk about it later, thanks mate. Issei told Drake mentally as they approached the karaoke to wait for Kiba and company. While they arrived, Issei and the others rented a large room for 12 people. Of course, Issei was the one who was invited to his misfortune, but even so, that didn't affect him that much, since he earned a lot of money in the underworld for the Op-I Dragon program, so paying for the outing to karaoke was nothing for him. I'm sorry Issei-kun, you paid for us and you just met us. Don't worry Nagisa-chan, by the way, why were you so distant at the entrance of the academy, you looked very sad. I used to have friends and teachers that I got along with, but now since I couldn't go to school much for a long time last year, I ended up repeating the year, and since the doctor recommended that we come to the city, I don't know anyone at school. So you felt lonely, right? Nagisa nodded, looking sad. By the way, have you been to any clubs? No, I wanted to join the drama club, but because of my condition, I don't think I could do the club activities. There is no drama club in Kuo. The previous members were third-year students and have already graduated, but we can relive it. I will ask some friends for help and you will be able to participate in the club's activities as much as you dog. Issei-kun, why are you being so nice to me when we just met? Nagisa asked doubtfully. I've never liked to see people suffer, and if it's in my hands I'll help whoever, said Issei, motivated without noticing that Nagisa was smiling with happiness. After 15 minutes, Kiba and company arrived. It must be said that Aika saw the blonde who was with Kiba and felt her heart tremble. Maybe it was the mythical love at first sight or something more. Those were Aika's thoughts of her. However, she came out of her thoughts when she saw that Caillou and Sunohara looked like they wanted to kill each other. What are you doing here, Sunohara? Caillou said contemptuously to Sunohara. Aika wondered if he was one of the boys who caused Caillou and his sister to be expelled. Hyoudou invited me, I didn't even know you were here, Sunohara replied, a little annoyed. Aika had an idea that he was one of the boys Caillou talked about. Okay, calm down, we came to have fun. Then you can tell us what happened between you, Issei said to calm the situation, something that everyone mentally thanked for. Well, just because Issei said it, I let it go for today, Caillou said, reluctantly accepting. At One-chan, what song do you think we should sing together? Said Ryu, changing the subject. So you're Sunohara, Aika said to Sunohara as she stared at him blushing, but he didn't notice. Well, you're not bad at all, she whispered the last part. That's right, I'm Sunohara Yahei, it's a pleasure, you can call me Yahei, that's what everyone calls me, said the short-haired blonde smiling. I'm Aika Kiryu, it's a pleasure, Yahei-kun. I hope we get along very well. She introduced herself and then looked at him with a somewhat mischievous smile, saying the last thing. After a while, Caillou and Ryu sang a song together. At the end, everyone applauded, although Mitsuda and Motohama exaggerated a little. I immediately sing Aika, a love song that I dedicate indirectly to Sunohara. The world is over, opening our hair ride. The world is filled with light and my heart is filled with sadness. The world is in love and an arrow of light pierces my chest. Timi wo wakaratain da dayo. I want to understand you better. New, old. Hey, teach me. At this point she looked at Sunohara directly while he felt her heartbeat because of Aika's voice. Aika felt nervous. I'm sure you'll be able to help me. When the words don't come I regret a little. Namita Kobarit. And the tears fall. Isagashi is a place where children can drink alcohol. My busy emotions connect to my heartbeat. The Chinese New Year is coming soon. I want to ensure synchronization. Dear Sunohara imagined himself holding hands with Aika. Aika imagined Sunohara holding her hands, looking into her eyes. I'm going to have a baby. Trapped only by the results. IG is a man of great talent. Important things get lost in the confusion. Caillou is also a survivor. The day it restarts again. In this part Sunohara imagined himself hugging Aika. Aika imagined Sunohara hugging her. The world is filled with light and splendor. The world is falling in love, an arrow of light pierces my chest. You understand, Zenbu? I just want to understand everything about you. Ni Kikaseat. Hey, tell me. One day, my mother took me. A single millimeter is so far away. In the shadows. As the days rush by. 1 PG after the Wasuranai Wasuraranai Kageaku. I will not forget that unforgettable, unique, brilliant page. Sunohara stood up quite excited. Aika, you sing like angels, you have moved me, I feel like asking you out, Sunohara said sincerely to joke about the last thing, however Aika took it seriously. I'd be delighted to go out with you, she said in a low, blushing voice, so that no one could hear her, however she had the microphone in her hand, and it was heard clearly. Everyone was serious from the impression. Sunohara was paralyzed in his place, standing and completely blushing, as was Aika, who was dying of embarrassment for having said it into the microphone until Sunohara spoke. So then sa let's go out together, Aika-chan, Sunohara said, completely nervous and still standing paralyzed. Of course Yahei-kun, said Aika, blushing and completely nervous. She approached Sunohara and took him by the arm, and they sat together mechanically without taking their eyes off each other. Everyone looked at them with a smile until Caillou and Issei broke the silence. Until spring finally comes to my little Aika. I still remember when she was just a little innocent girl. Daddy is proud, said Issei, while pretending to be Aika's father and pretending to cry. Shut up, Hyoudou, you're not my father, she said, annoyed and very embarrassed by Issei's nonsense from her. Miracle, a miracle happened. Sunohara has a girlfriend, the end of the world is coming. Sister, I'm scared, Caillou shouted, pretending to panic while hugging his sister. Shut up, Caillou, it's not the end of the world, Sunohara shouted angrily and somewhat embarrassed. Congratulations, Yahei-kun, said Kiba, congratulating his new friend, which he thanked himself for. Okay, enough nonsense, let's sing Mitsuda, Motohama, said Issei, somewhat excited. And which one will we sing, Issei? Are you planning to sing that song I have in mind? Motohama said thoughtfully. What are we going to sing? Let me get ready, said Mitsuda. Of course I plan on singing that song, Issei said, confirming his companion's doubts about him. Issei-kun, what song are you going to sing? Nagisa asked, quite curious. Wait and you'll see Nagisa-chan, said the brown-haired boy, increasing her curiosity. It should be said that Aika, Murayama and Kayu were recording with their cell phones what the boys were about to sing. Nami wo yobuyo ending bungu stray dogs. Issei started singing while the others were waiting expectantly. I'm going to die. I was looking for a reason. Ryu is sad. So I can be myself. Your heart is empty. If in your heart. My name is Ikateru. I'm living. In this part it was Motohama who sang. Kurayami and Nagasaki. Should be able to be someone. You're the one who. Able to overcome. I will give you something. The darkness and the long hills. Here the three began to sing while the others just watched in silence. I wonder if you'll be able to find me. To be able to smile now when walking on different paths. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry for you. To confirm together the reason why we live as we move forward. Name wo yobuyo. I will say a name. Your name. Will you be number? You and you will die. So you can be yourself. Here everyone was already quite impressed by the talent that the trio of perverts was demonstrating. When your tears fall from the clouds. When your tears darkened by sadness are shed. When I was young and had a bad day. When your heart full of loneliness withers. Name wo yobuyo. I will say a name. Your name. Will you be number? My name is Boku and I am yours. Like when you said mine. Here it was Mitsuda who started singing alone. Bukakuaiki wo Sakomu. I take a deep breath. I'm going to die in the sky. I breathe in and release it into the sky. Even if you're alone, you'll be able to relax. Can I believe anyone? The new emperor too. Can you be happy? I'm sorry. Even me. Here again everyone began to sing together, however Kayu, Ryu, Murayama, Kadis, Nagisa, Aika, Sunohara, Kiba and Gasper cried because the lyrics touched their hearts. The future of the Mabushi clan will be filled with this treasure. Although a bright future awaits me later. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be a human being. It doesn't make sense if I see it completely alone. Please give me some sake. I will shout a name. My name is Boku. It will be my name. Even now I'm here. Even now I am here. Ikateru Kana. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. Would it be okay if it didn't exist? The Tori Tsubai Sora Miyajiteta. Was what I whispered when I looked at the sky. I'm sorry. Lost in the wind. Where did you come from? I heard from somewhere. My name is Boku. My name. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry for what you said. But the things I can be myself with. I wonder if you'll be able to find me. To be able to smile now when walking on different paths. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry for you. To confirm together the reason why we live as we move forward. Name wo yobuyo. I will say a name. Your name. Will you be number? You and you will die. So you can be yourself. When your tears fall from the clouds. When your tears darkened by sadness are shed. When I was young and had a bad day. When your lonely heart withers. Name wo yobuyo. I will say a name. Your name. Will you be number? My name is Boku and I am yours. Like when you said mine. Name wo yobuyo. I will say a name. Your name. Will you be number? At the end there was a bit of silence, which was broken by applause that sat in the trio of boys who seemed happy to have sung. Why did they never show that they had that talent, fools, said Murayama, while still crying for the song that touched his heart. They should really sing at the Cow Academy Founders Festival, so everyone can see their talent, fools. I don't know whether to take it as a compliment or an insult, Mitsuda said. Take it as a silly compliment, said Motohama. On second thought, we should sing at the festival and surprise the entire academy, Issei said. Maybe this will end his bad reputation, said Aika. Well decided, we will sing at the Founders Festival. Now whose turn is it, said Issei. I'm Issei-senpai, said Gasper, starting to sing. After a while, everyone had sung except for Nagisa. Kiba sang next to Murayama and Kadis, then came a duet between Kayu and Mitsuda, ending with a duet between Ryu and Motohama. After finishing, Issei approached Nagisa. What's wrong, Nagisa-chan, you don't want to sing? Issei asked. Yes, I want to sing, but I don't know if you like it, said Nagisa. Let's sing together if you want, we'll make a duet, Issei tried to cheer up Nagisa. Seriously, well then let's sing this one. Nagisa passed the electronic tablet to Issei, and when he saw the song, he smiled with a slight nostalgia. My mother used to sing this song to me when I was a child, she always sang it so I could sleep well, Issei said with a smile. It's a really good song, I love it, said Nagisa, quite excited. Okay, let's go for it, Issei said animatedly. Then since I added 2 songs I will omit the one about Nagisa and Issei, they are singing Dango Daikazoku. Issei and Nagisa sang together, and when they finished everyone applauded, which embarrassed Nagisa a little. After that everyone left the karaoke. Gasper was the first to leave, since he had things to do, so he was left alone at that moment. Issei came up with an idea to help his friend spend time alone with Caillou and Ryu. "Biba, you should accompany Murayama and Caddis. It's already afternoon and it's dangerous for them to go alone," he said, quite seriously, something that Kiba understood. "Well, Issei-kun, I'll escort you home. See you tomorrow." Kiba began to walk with the girls, who turned to look at Issei and smiled at him in gratitude, not knowing that Issei didn't do it for them, but for his friends. "Mitsuda Motohama, you guys escort Caillou and Ryu home, take care of them," said Issei, to which Mitsuda and Motohama nodded while mentally thanking Issei for the detail on his part. "See you tomorrow, Issei, thanks for inviting me and my sister, we had fun," said to happy Caillou as they left the place. "I'll accompany Aika to her house, see you, Issei, I had a wonderful time," said Sunohara very happily. "See you later, couple," said Issei with malice, which caused the couple to blush quite a bit and leave in silence. "Okay, Nagisa-chan, I'll walk you home," Issei said as Nagisa smiled. Chapter 2. A great family moment. "See you later, couple," said Issei with malice, which caused the couple to blush quite a bit and leave in silence. "Okay, Nagisa-chan, I'll walk you home," Issei said as Nagisa smiled. On the way, Nagisa told Issei that she spent half a year sick because someone wanted to play a joke on the students. She ended up with a head wound because a large metal tub fell on her like the one in the After Story special, which left her unconscious. When she woke up, her illness no longer allowed her to go to school for a long period of time, so she had to repeat the year. "Seriously, those jokes are in bad taste and always end up causing problems," said Issei, somewhat annoyed. They say that the culprits were suspended and finally 3 of them transferred, apparently only 1 returned under observation, and 2 of them were only involved and were not really guilty. "I never got to know them, but I know that they did not want to cause so much damage," said Nagisa, a little sad because she didn't really hate them. "Yes, but because of that you lost a year, but anyway, if you decided to forgive them, it means that you have a very big heart," Issei said, a little sad, but the last thing with a big smile. "You are very kind, Issei-san," said Nagisa with a big smile. They continued walking towards Nagisa's house in a comfortable silence. She looked very happy because Issei was her first friend since she arrived in Kuo. When they reached a park in front of a bakery, they stopped. "Here we say goodbye," said Nagisa. "Well, see you later, Nagisa-chan," Issei said with a warm smile. "Hey Issei-san, my house is the bakery in front of the park, please come whenever you want," Nagisa said happily. "Well, I'll go later, bye," said Issei, saying goodbye to Nagisa and starting to walk away from the place. Issei walked in silence, remembering everything that happened during the day from when he met Nagisa until he said goodbye to her, but a certain dragon interrupted him. "Comrade, I know you're busy with your thoughts, but you should go with Azazel to explain to you and him the girl's illness," said Drag, making the brown-haired boy pay attention and put on a serious face. "You're right, thanks for reminding me about Drag, by the way it's strange that you worry about her," said Issei gratefully, to say the last thing, questioning the dragon. "You just met that girl and you already made her your friend, so I'm also worried about her, plus I'm interested in seeing if Azazel finds a cure or a treatment," said Drag, worried about Nagisa, but the real reason was because she would help Issei get over the girl thing, and Issei showed interest in her. "Well, I'll trust Azazel, let's go, buddy," I replied to Drag gratefully, and so he took his phone from him and called Azazel. "Hello Sekiryuite, what's wrong? It's weird that you call me. Something happened?" Azazel asked with slight concern. "Drag wants to talk to you and me about something important, where can I find you?" Issei said, getting straight to the point. "Well, come to my apartment." Coming from Drag, it must be quite important, so teleport here so we can talk soon, Azazel said, hanging up the call after finishing speaking. "Gosh, this guy hung up on me without waiting for an answer," Issei said, a little annoyed. He looked around to see if there were people around him, and seeing that there was no one, he teleported to Azazel's apartment. Already arriving at Azazel's apartment, Issei sat in one of the armchairs in the place, and Azazel brought some drinks. "Well Issei, we're here, so Drag, can you tell me what you need me for?" Azazel said in a serious tone, as he was intrigued by what the Welsh dragon wanted to tell him. "Azazel, you see, there's something I want to talk about. Issei met a girl this morning and immediately became friends with her, however, I detected something," said Drag from the boosted gear. "Well, I'm happy for you, Issei. I see that you've been able to handle the fact that the girl's left you, but on the other hand, Drag, what did you detect in her?" "It's something bad," Azazel congratulated Issei and then answered the Welsh dragon. "Yes, she suffers from a disease, but it is not exactly that, she has enormous magical reserves greater than those of a high-class devil, almost at the level of a supreme class one, and that in the body of a normal human is." Drag could not finish speaking when Azazel interrupted him. "Terrible, I know. His body is overloaded with magic and causes him to suffer terrible health conditions to the point of even taking the life of the person who suffers from it, Azazel said quite sadly, but Issei looked devastated, almost to the point of wanting to cry. For him, it was unfair that a girl as kind as Nagisa had to suffer through something like that. That's why I wanted to ask you if you can find a way to save her, the Welsh dragon asked the Fallen. Well, we can use the same bracelets that Issei used in his first battle against Volley, but I will need to modify it. Tell me Issei what she likes, said the Fallen one. Well, I don't know much about her, but it seems she likes the Big Dango family, said Issei. However, he didn't wait for the next answer. The Big Dango family, I remember that she had a whole collection of their stuffed animals. Well, I'll make a bracelet with a dango decoration to make it more casual, so she can wear it every day. I still remember that she sang the song from time to time. What time, said Azazel excitedly. Well, I leave it to you, Azazel. That girl is important to Issei, and you know she's a good girl. I think it's worth the effort. You'll see that she'll be more important to this fool. The Welsh dragon said to Azazel, who agreed while Issei complained to Drake about the insult. Well, I'm leaving, Issei. I'll do what I can. I think I'll have it ready the day after tomorrow at the latest, said Azazel, and then disappeared into a magic circle, leaving Issei alone, who he chose to teleport to his house. Upon arriving, he went straight to his room. He was completely exhausted and wanted to rest, however he received a call. Hello Butcho, what do you need? Said Issei. Since he ended his relationship with Riaz, he started calling her Butcho again. Hey, we have a mission to exterminate a renegade. Come to the club room so we can all go to the place. We'll be waiting for you. Bye, Riaz said on the phone before hanging up after finishing saying the last thing. Damn, why does everyone hang up on me before I say anything? The brown-haired boy grumbled as he disappeared into a magic circle. Upon arriving at the Occult Research Club, everyone was waiting for the brown-haired boy in a magic circle, so he immediately entered it to be teleported to the outskirts of Kuo, right in the forest of the place where, after advancing about 100 meters, Kaneko said. It smells like blood, and I feel something approaching, said the white-haired woman. Alright, time to fight, boosted gear, Issei said as he materialized his sacred gear from him. Issei-kun, let me hit you first, Kiba said as he held his sacred demonic sword. Here it comes, said Kaneko as she got into a combat stance. The trees began to be torn apart by some kind of enormous arachnid with blood still on their fangs. Okay, Kiba, Riaz ordered her knight to him, who didn't hesitate for a second to attack, cutting off 3 of the arachnid's legs in the process. Okay, it's my turn, dragon shoot, said Issei launching a dragon shoot that basically sent the arachnid flying out of the place, leaving it in a very agonizing state. Damn, Ice, you defeated him in one hit and left us nothing, said Zenobia, a little discouraged. I'm sorry, haha, I think I should create a weaker technique, said Issei, because since he finished with the girls he trained hard every day so he became much stronger. Heavens, let's end this, said the redeemed renegade demon Aralim. You killed your master and devoured innocent humans. In the name of Grimoire you will be exterminated, said Riaz, as she launched an attack of the power of destruction, killing and instantly disintegrating the renegade. Well, let's go, said Akeno as she prepared a magic circle to return to the Occult Research Club room. Once there, everyone sat on the chairs in the place and began to talk to each other while Issei, Kiba and Gasper approached a corner. Thanks Issei-senpai, I had fun at Karaoke, said the transvestite damper. It's true that I also had fun and I was very surprised. Who would have thought that you had that talent, Issei-kun? Kiba said. Well, I had fun too, who would have thought that Aika would get a boyfriend, said Issei. However, a certain blonde heard the conversation and approached. Issei-san, is that true? Asia said, interested in the subject. It must be said that since Issei ended his relationship with the girls, he began to see Asia as a younger sister. Yes, Asia Aika started dating a friend of Kiba's, his name is Sunohara Yahei, said the brown-haired boy happily. Sunohara-senpai looked very happy and embarrassed. It was very funny, Gasper said with a smile. Yes, Issei-kun, how did it go with Furukawa-san? You accompanied her home, Kiba said, not knowing that this made everyone pay attention to the conversation. Yes, and I appreciate that you took Murayama and Katis from there because I wanted Mitsuda and Motohama to accompany the Fujibayashi twins, Issei said as he thanked the blonde Bishinin for his help. Issei-san, who are they? Asia asked a little curiously while everyone else paid attention. They are some classmates who have just transferred to the academy, said the brown-haired boy answering Asia. Oh, I see. I hope to meet them soon. I'd like to go shopping with them, said the blonde, smiling happily. I'll tell them so they can have fun, said the brown-haired boy. Thank you, Issei-san. After the conversation, everyone went to make some contracts until nightfall. When they finished, Issei left the house of one of his contracts and headed to his house, but he noticed that he was close to Nagisa's house, so he decided to stop by the place. Upon arriving at the place he could see the sign which said Furukawa Bakery, so he entered the place. Hello, said the brown-haired boy, but no one answered. What? There's no one there? He thought as he approached a display where there was still bread. It's this week's new release, please try one if you like, said to a beautiful woman with brown hair tied in a ponytail that goes down to her waist. Will she be Nagisa's sister? Or will she be her mother? He thought in chestnut. You don't have to pay me since they are leftovers, said the beautiful woman. The concept is relaxing. Relaxing? He said quietly as he took one, then I'll take you up on the offer. Then he took a bite of the bread but felt something a little hard inside. There is a rice cracker inside, it is rice cracker bread. Wow, the name and the bread are amazing, Issei said a little sarcastically, but Nagisa's mother didn't notice. He thinks the same too, said Nagisa's mother, which made Issei laugh in I'm style. It's the victory of an idea, she said happily, but then she saw that Issei was staring at the bread. Is there a problem? You really want to know, said the brown-haired man. Although it is delicious, it is difficult to eat. Even so, it is very tasty, but without something to drink, it becomes difficult to eat. Maybe that is why there were some left over. After saying that, I realized that the woman began to cry. So my bread, so my bread, she said while crying. Hey wait, said the brown-haired boy trying to calm her down. It's normal that there were too many, he said as he ran out of the place while crying. Damn, I think I screwed up, said the brown-haired boy, but then he received a push in the lower back with his foot. A male voice was heard. What's wrong? Issei said a little annoyed as he turned around looking at a man with light red hair with a cigarette in his mouth and a baseball bat in his hands resting it on his shoulder. This is bad, the brown-haired man thought. You said something you shouldn't have, the man said while pointing the bat at him. You should have kept eating and said it was good, that's duty. That's morality, he said while gently hitting the brunette's chest. The truth is always harsh, he said while lowering the bat and telling him that way is too cruel, he said as he approached angrily threatening with the bat. All the neighbors eat his bread and say it's delicious, it's an unspoken rule. It's the law, he said while chasing the brunette swinging the bat threateningly, so you better follow her or I'll knock you down, he said, putting the bat on the brunette's chin while holding his head, but then he looked closely at Issei. You're wearing the same uniform as my daughter's school, are you friends with Nagisa? After a while everyone was inside sitting on the floor in front of a small table and Nagisa's father looked happy. Say it first, fool, said Nagisa's father animatedly. I'm sorry, I acted shamefully in front of my daughter's friend, said Nagisa's mother. Don't worry Sani, it seems silly, so I'll probably forget about it, right? Nagisa's father said happily as he took Issei's head. You should not say that to our guest, said the brunette in a reproachful tone for her husband's attitude. Why is this happening? The brown-haired boy thought annoyed while Drake laughed at the situation inside the boosted gear. Anyway, it's great, Nagisa brought a friend as soon as he entered the academy, he said while still holding the brown-haired boy's head. And on top of that, he's a boy, said Nagisa's mother. What? A man? He said impressed and then looked at Issei fixedly, saying the last thing he made him think he barely noticed it. Maybe he's her boyfriend, said Nagisa's mother, who made the brown-haired boy blush. Huff, I can't give Nagisa to a boy as weak as this one, he said annoyed. Go away, he said waving his hand, which annoyed the brown-haired boy a little. Then I'm leaving, said the brown-haired boy, keeping calm as he stood up from the spot, but was immediately sat down by Nagisa's father and said. Do you really call yourself a man? He said annoyed and then smiled and said, if you are a man take the woman you fell in love with, even if it is by force, he said, looking at Issei happily, but even if I said that I am not going to give her to you, he said while crossing his arms. Issei already had a twitch in his eye and a vein was visible on his forehead. At that point Nagisa arrived with a tray in his hand saying. Ah, everyone is getting along now, Nagisa said as he left the tray on the table. Of course we would never treat a friend of our daughter badly, said Nagisa's father. Rock, said the three members of the family as they pointed their fists to the center, leaving Issei with a poker face. What's wrong? Why are you making that face? Nagisa's father said happily. I just thought they are such a unique and particular family, Issei said sarcastically. As you can see, we can now make harmless jokes with each other, he said, patting the brown-haired boy on his shoulder. That's right, you still haven't told us your name, said Nagisa's mother. It's a lie, said Nagisa. Ugh, what a small name, make it something like Hyoudou Ginga, said Nagisa's father. N.A., Ginga equals galaxy. What a great idea, can I call you Ginga-san? Said Nagisa's mother. Since you're at it, change your last name to Daiachu Ginga, great name, huh? Said Nagisa's father enthusiastically. N.A. Daiachu equals universe. My name is Hyoudou Issei said to a little annoyed. What a special boy, said Nagisa's father while crossing his arms. Sani, can you think of a good name? Well, what if we add something to his name? Not something big, but something that makes him a being that is above the passage of time. Hyoudou Issei eternal, said Issei's mother. Well, Drake said to Issei, funny since you're a demon, to which Issei replied, better not even start. Oh, good idea, from now on I'll call you Ethanol, said Nagisa's father. I change it again, Issei said with a twitch in his eye. And so they continued until dinner, as Nagisa's mother insisted that Issei stay for dinner while they talked and joked together until dinner ended and Issei had to leave. Nagisa accompanied him outside. Thanks, I'll go alone from here, Issei said smiling. I'm sorry we made you stay late, said Nagisa. It's been a while since I was in such a familiar environment. Well, bye Nagisa, said the brown-haired boy. Issei started walking but turned back watching as Nagisa waved goodbye and smiled. It was a strange experience, thought the chestnut. But you enjoyed it, didn't you, mate, said the Welsh dragon. I certainly enjoyed it. And so he walked until he reached his house where Asia was waiting for him in the living room. Issei-san, where were you? Issei asked, somewhat curious. At a friend's house, said the brown-haired boy without further ado. Have you had dinner yet? The blonde asked again. If I already had dinner, I'm going to take a shower and then go to sleep, said Issei, as he went to his room for a change of clothes. After showering he returned to his room and went to bed to sleep because tomorrow it would be a great day. Chapter 3. An event of utmost importance. It was a beautiful morning in Kuo. A young woman with brown hair woke up with a big smile, and how could she not? Yesterday so many things happened that she still hadn't processed, like the fact of having new friends or that day being one of the best in her life. Without a doubt she felt so happy. She began to get ready to go to school, putting on her new Kuo Academy uniform, and after a while, she went down the stairs to meet her family who were still making bread. She prepared her breakfast and her bento to go to the academy that for some reason she was so eager to go to because today she would spend another day with her new friends. Meanwhile, at the Hyoudou residence, Issei was preparing to have breakfast with the girls, who looked happy preparing their bento to take to their boyfriends. Asia approached Issei and gave him an bento. "Ai-san, please prepare an bento for you," said the blonde happily as she wanted her older brother to bring something to eat. "Thanks Asia, I'll take it carefully. I wonder if Aika will take her bento to you, hey?" The brown-haired boy wondered with some malice, as he planned to tease the new couple a little like the good friend he is. "Ai-san, can I call you Ice Nice?" Asia asked, joining her hands together and with a smile. The brown-haired boy stared at her for a few seconds, then put one of his hands on the blonde's head and said, "Of course Asia, for my future sister, whatever," said the brown-haired boy happily while caressing the head of his future sister because in reality Issei's parents, after finding out that the girls no longer had a relationship with Issei and that now Asia and Issei saw each other as siblings, decided that they would adopt her as their own daughter. "By the way, Ice Niacin, don't forget to introduce me to the new students," Asia said smiling. "Of course, don't worry, I'll tell Aika and the others to wait for you in the classroom so you can go out together," said the brown-haired boy as he stood up and headed for the exit. "I'll see you at school. I have to meet Surzich's-sama to talk about that matter we left pending last time," said Issei, already at the exit. "I'm sorry to cause you so much trouble. Oh, by the way, our apartments are almost ready, we're moving next week," Ria said to Issei. "It's okay, it will be a bit lonely without you," said the brown-haired boy. "Come visit us from time to time." "Yes," said Asia too little sadly. "Don't worry Asia, I'll come to see them from time to time," said the retard. Asia-chan, every time I have the chance I will come to visit," said the black-haired girl. "Count on it Asia-senpai," Kaneko said while raising her thumb. "I will come more often because I still have business with Isama about his new program and we already have a filming date for the movie Isama," said Ravel speaking to Asia to go on to inform Issei about his new program since Op-I Dragon stopped airing to start a new series called The Legendary Crimson Dragon, which was for all audiences and told the story of Issei since Kakabiel's attack. "Thanks Ravel, by the way, have you already informed Vali about his participation in the film?" asked the brown-haired boy. "I already informed Vali and Baiko about their participation. I still find it hard to believe that they agreed to participate in the film and the series," said the blonde phoenix. "I'm sure he did it for his half-siblings and his mother. Since he decided to face his fear of him and decided to talk to them, he's happier," said the brown-haired boy, happy for his rival of the. "Well, I'm leaving, see you later," he said as he ran at full speed. After arriving at Azazel's apartment and waiting a few minutes, I opened the door. "Surzich's will arrive in a few minutes, I have to go for now, I haven't finished the bracelet yet, see you Issei," he said as he disappeared into a magic circle and after a few minutes the red-haired Mayu appeared. "Hello Issei-kun, sorry I'm late. I had to wait for the papers to cancel the engagement," said the retard, a little sad. "Don't worry, in the end we decided that we both agreed," said Issei when he noticed the sad face of the Mayu who smiled a little after hearing that. "Thanks Issei-kun. By the way, I'll pick you up this afternoon. There's an important matter that the council wants to discuss with you," said the Mayu. "I'll wait for you at my house." "Well, here they are all signed," said Issei as he handed him the papers for the cancellation of the Hyoudou Gremory engagement. "Well, with this everything is settled, I'm leaving." I'll see you later, Issei-kun. See you later Surzicha-sama, said the brown-haired boy saying goodbye to the retreat. After that brief meeting, Issei left the apartment to walk towards Kuo Academy. Halfway there he found Nagisa standing in a corner surrounded by 5 dangerous-looking guys. "Come on, darling, come with us, you're going to have fun," said one of them. "No, I want," said Nagisa scared. "Come on, I don't take no for an answer," said one in a leather jacket. "Hey, what the hell are you doing to Nagisa, you bastards?" said Caillou, appearing on the scene quite upset and standing between them, while Ryu and Ika hugged Nagisa who was crying. "Hey, don't act like a hero, girl, and come have fun with us, or it will have to be the hard way," said a guy taking Nagisa by the arm. However, the brown-haired boy took the arm of the one holding Nagisa and twisted it and then said, "If you do not leave her alone I'll have to kick your asses you bunch of cowards," Issei said quite seriously and very upset and then released the guy and pushed him towards the others. "That's you and who else, you little shit," said one of them. "With me is more than enough," said the brown-haired boy in a challenging manner. At that moment he saw Sunohara, Kiba, Mitsuda and Motohama approaching. "You better get going if you don't want to get beaten up," said Sunohara standing next to Issei. "You better listen to him or I'll fight you too," Kiba said seriously. "You better go now while you can," said Mitsuda cracking his knuckles and with a sour face. "You two are nothing separately," Motohama said challenging them, and it was at that moment that one of them exploded in anger. "Don't try to be too clever," said one of them, launching himself against Motohama. However, he only limited himself to hitting him in the stomach, suffocating him and then throwing him against the ground. It must be said that he practiced self-defense by obligation of his father, with the excuse that this way he would change his perverted way of being. The brown-haired boy immediately dodged a blow from one of the delinquents, only moving very little, taking him by the shin and throwing him to one side, leaving him on the ground. Mitsuda began to beat up another one of them, throwing a combination of a jab, a right uppercut, a left hook and then a right hook, leaving his opponent very badly injured. It turns out that the bald guy was in the boxing club in high school, so this fight was really child's play. For his part, Sunohara launched himself against one of them with a kick, knocking him down on the spot, and Kiba went on to look at the remaining one to say to him, "Fine, you're next," challenging him. However, he's backed off with his friends. All of them thought they were just regrouping, but they decided to flee the place, leaving the boys in the place, who had inadvertently attracted the attention of the students who were passing by. "Wow, did you see that? Hyoudou looks like a professional," said to boy. "Did you see that the new guy finished one of them off quickly?" said another. "Ayakiba-kun helped defend the poor girl," said to girl. "Who would have thought that Motohama knows self-defense?" said another boy. "Did you see that? Is Mitsuda a boxer?" said another one. At that Issei walked towards Nagisa who looked at him quite impressed by the way he fought, but she was not the only one since Caillou looked at Mitsuda fixedly and quite stupefied, because she would not imagine that he was a boxer. For her part, Ryu was blushing looking at Motohama, seeing how cool he acted, while Laika looked into her boyfriend's eyes completely excited. "Nagisa, are you okay?" the brown-haired boy asked while she, still scared, agreed while hugging him crying. "I'm glad you're okay," Mitsuda said, already relaxed. "You were amazing Yasuaki-kun," she said, calling him by his first name. "Ryu, nothing happened to you?" Motohama asked worriedly. "Well, Takumi-kun," Ryu said, still blushing. "You're not hurt," said Sunohara, quite worried about his girlfriend, who just hugged him, still scared. After what happened and the girls calming down, they began to walk until they reached the academy, and from there Sunohara and Kiba went to their classroom, while the others went to theirs. After arriving, the perverted trio was bombarded with questions about how they managed to defend the girls, while Murayama and Katis talked to the girls still trying to calm them down. After the teacher arrived, everyone remained silent and classes began. However, Hyoudou Issei, Kiba Hyoudou, Sunohara Yahei, Mitsuda Yasuaki and Motohama Takumi, please be requested in the student council room. The call was heard over the school speakers. Almost immediately most of the students already had an idea of why they were requested, and as soon as they heard their names, they got up from their seats and began to walk towards the student council room. When they arrived, a certain blue-haired girl with a green lock was waiting for them, and after a talk where everyone explained what happened, it was ruled that it was for self-defense, so they let them go with only a warning, and they returned to their classrooms. Already at lunchtime, Issei approached Nagisa and the girls. "Girls, I wanted to ask you if you would like to go shopping with a friend of mine named Asia. She is also a friend of Ika," he said, addressing the new students. "Shopping, we definitely have to go," said Murayama and Katis. "Okay, I'll let her know by phone to come pick you up in the classroom." At that moment, she took her cell phone and dialed the blonde's number, and she answered almost immediately. "Hello Ice Niacin, what's up?" "Hi, I just wanted to tell you that the girls want to go shopping with you," the brown-haired boy said happily on the phone. "Seriously, that's great. By the way, can you tell them that Arena-chan and Zeno-chan are going too? Of course I'll let them know. By the way, go pick them up in the classroom, because I'm going to leave as soon as classes end. I have pending matters with Surzich's-sama. Of course Ice Niacin will pick them up, thanks, said the blonde, quite happy. Okay, bye. And with that last thing he hung up to walk towards the others and tell them he said that 2 more would go and that they would come for you in the living room. I leave the rest to you, said the brown-haired man and then spoke to his companion. Don't worry, Issei-san, I'll take care of everything, she said happily. By the way, at that moment Issei made a malicious face. You brought Sunohara's a bento. Wow. She said, completely blushing. Haha, that's great, and you already gave it to her, he said mockingly, but she was so embarrassed that she didn't notice. Hey yet, said the brunette with glasses. And you hope for sure and you do it very happily. Wish me luck, she asked her friends who encouraged her as she left with a small pink box in her hand, along with a pair of chopsticks. It must be said that they all looked at the brown-haired boy and said to him. Issei-kun, don't bother Ika-chan with that, Nagisa scolded. Hi, by the way I need to talk to Azazel-sensei to revive the drama club, said the brown-haired boy to Nagisa. Thank you Issei-kun, I really appreciate it, said the brunette who was so happy because she would soon be able to participate in her very special theater club. Well, Mitsuda Motohama, let's go to lunch. Guys, I have to talk to you about something, said the brown-haired boy as he walked towards his friends and they ate while talking about reviving the drama club, to which they agreed, saying that anything for a friend. After lunchtime, classes continued and meanwhile the brown-haired boy was thinking about how to fix his affairs with the Phoenix family when he was interrupted by his dragon companion. Comrade, stop worrying about insignificant things, remember that you still have to speak with the Council of Elders of the Underworld so that they will have summoned you, the Welsh dragon questioned himself. I have no idea Drake, but that has me a little worried, the brown-haired boy answered intrigued. Don't worry, it must be nonsense, said the Welsh dragon. I hope so, mate, said the brown-haired boy, still worried about the matter. After the talk between dragons, the brown-haired boy concentrated on his classes until it was time to leave. Issei, after finishing saying goodbye to his classmates, left the academy. However, a red-haired man in a gala suit next to a white-haired maid, who were in front of a limousine at the entrance of the academy, welcomed him so that I would go with them. It must be said that the students began to murmur things regarding what they saw. Hello again Issei-kun, ready to go, said the Mao. But it was necessary to come in a limousine, said the brown-haired man. Where are we going, Issei-sama? Said the white-haired maid. Okay, let's go, said the brown-haired man getting into the limousine with the red-haired Mao and the maid. The limousine began to move, leaving the place, while the brown-haired man remained silent until they reached the Gremory family train station, where they boarded a train to the underworld, more exactly to the territory of the Mao Lucifer where the meeting would be. But before that they had to talk about some matters regarding the Gremory clan and the fact that the Hyoudou Gremory engagement would finally be broken. Silence fell as the brown-haired boy looked outside the car where the underworld could be seen. He was immersed in his thoughts and admired the scenery while remembering everything he had experienced until he remembered the moment he met Nagisa and the fact that she was oblivious to the supernatural, but he still knew deep down that one day he would have to tell her about it. But it would be after graduating because he wanted to spend time with her. He was so immersed in his thoughts of him that he did not notice the red-haired Mao approaching to sit next to him, and at that moment he touched his shoulder of him, drawing the brown-haired boy's attention of him. Issei-kun, is there something that worries you? I feel that you are sad, said the Redeed with genuine concern. Hey, if everything is okay, I was just thinking about everything that has happened so far, said the brown-haired boy sincerely. I still know there's something that made you feel bad, you know you can tell me anything, right? Said the Redeed. Yes, I know that, Sai, you know, I recently met a girl, she is a human and she wants to reopen the drama club, but I am worried about her health since she has a serious illness that Drake told me about. It is lethal, said the brown-haired boy, while a few tears escaped but he still managed to contain himself. I see, but I would like to know what kind of disease it is, could you explain it to me, Drake, said the Redeed, speaking to the Welsh dragon, who responded by manifesting the boosted gear and speaking clearly. You see, Surzich's the human girl's illness is not one as such, she has enormous magic reserves as large as those of a middle or high-class demon, but as you know, without use that magic is dangerous, causing weakness, high fevers and ultimately death itself. This is because magic when not used is stored in large quantities and when not released it becomes unstable. Luckily she is still in time. Even yesterday we asked Azazel for help on the matter and he said that by tomorrow at the latest he would have a solution, said the celestial dragon with a tone of sadness in his voice. Well, I'll contact Azazel and the Citri clan, there must be something we can do, since if even the Welsh dragon cares about her, she must be important to you, Issei, and if so, she becomes important to the underworld, said the Retid, leaving the brown-haired man confused by the last point. Thank you Surziches, I knew I could count on you, and Azazel it would really hurt me to see her die like that, the fact that she suffers is very hard, said the brown-haired boy, still a little sad for Nagisa. I have already informed the Citri clan of the situation. I only need your name, and they will immediately look for a way to save her, Grafia informed. Nagisa, Furukawa Nagisa. Well, I'll inform you of the progress of the investigation, Issei-sama, said the platinum-haired girl. Really, thank you said the brown-haired boy, letting out a few tears that he held back all day. Human World Kuo City. Nagisa and the girls were walking through the city towards the mall to do their shopping, they talked about their lives and such things, however Nagisa and Asia seemed like they had known each other all their lives, they talked about their tastes, it must be said that they talked about the Great Dango family. Upon arriving at the mall they passed a seasonal clothing store, Nagisa suddenly saw a light blue blouse with a design of the Great Dango family, which excited him greatly, and he took the garment without hesitation, and then spoke to Asia. Look, it's the big Dango family, I'm going to buy it, said the brunette happily. Nagisa-chan look at that blouse over there it looks really pretty too Asia said walking towards the blouse and taking it to show it to Nagisa. It looks pretty, you should buy it, it looks good on you, Nagisa said to her new friend. I wonder if Amadio-kun would like it, said the blonde referring to her boyfriend. I'm sure Asia-chan said the brunette supporting the blonde. After the girls' shopping, they went to a cafe in the place to enjoy the time, but the girls of the Gremory clan knew that they only had until 6 p.m. because they had an important matter to attend to in the afternoon and until night, so their purchases were evening dresses for the evening they would spend that afternoon. For her part Aika bought a red shirt with an electric guitar print which she bought for her recent boyfriend. I see that you try hard to make your boyfriend Aika happy, said Caillou blushing at the brunette with pigtails. That's very nice of you, Aika-chan, Ryu said, increasing the brunette's blush. They met at the karaoke party, right? Said Zenobia, receiving a nod from the brunette with pigtails who was hiding her face with her hands. This must be the Lord's work, Irina said, putting her hands together as if she were praying. I think they make a cute couple, Nagisa said while smiling at Aika. Aika-chan, I wish you all the best, and I hope you are very happy, Asia said smiling as she took her cup of tea. I'm dying of embarrassment, by the way what time is it Nagisa said the brown-haired girl with pigtails. It's 5:30 p.m. Aika-chan why? Nagisa answered a little curious. Because I have to go talk to Yuhei-kun, she blushed again after saying that. Hey, it's late, we have to go said Irina. Well, I'm going home from here because my dad wants to talk about the baseball game that the neighborhood council is having this weekend, said Nagisa. Okay, let's go Ryu, see you tomorrow at school girls, said the long-haired twin. See you tomorrow girls Ryu said goodbye to the others. After that, everyone went back to their homes, especially the Gremory girls, since they were in a hurry to get changed to go to that night's event. Nagisa, upon arriving home, went straight to his room to drop off his purchases and then talk to his parents about his day and such things, however. Hey, why does everything look so at that moment she fainted and her father took her in his arms. He's burning with fever, quickly start the car, Sandy shouted Nagisa's father. At that moment her father put her in the car and they went straight to the hospital. Underworld Lucifer Castle. Issei was in the place a little nervous because he finished talking just a couple of minutes ago with Ria's Gremory's parents, who were a little sad because the engagement had been broken, but for some reason they looked happy, which the brown-haired boy missed. After a while the Mao Lucifer arrived accompanied by several maids. Issei-kun, you must prepare to go talk to the council, so you must be more presentable. Don't worry, they will take you to a room so you can dress in a suit that I prepared for the occasion, he said the red-haired Mao. Come on, Issei-sama, it's this way, said a maid to the brown-haired boy, who nodded and followed them to the room. When he arrived, he could see a tuxedo hanging on a coat rack. That's the suit I'm going to wear to talk to the council of the underworld, the brown-haired boy questioned. Indeed Issei-sama is perfect for the occasion now we will help you get dressed, and in a blink of an eye the brown-haired boy was being undressed by the group of maids, who quickly began to dress him in the elegant tuxedo, that it must be said it was obvious at first glance that it was expensive. Once dressed he prepared to leave. Upon arriving in the living room, Surziches was already waiting for him dressed in his Mao costume and Grafia in her maid outfit. Well Issei-kun, let's go to the meeting place said the Mao, watching as the brown-haired boy just nodded. Upon leaving the place they got into a luxurious limousine, after getting in it they began to move towards the meeting place, where along the way many demons, fallen ones and angels were seen guarding the place. Issei was surprised that they entered through the back of the place, and when the Mao Lucifer entered with his maid, they went in another direction, while the brown-haired boy was escorted to the place that after arriving, he noticed that it was all dark even for his demon dragon eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all gathered here today on this special occasion for an event of utmost importance to the three factions, the voice of the red-haired Mao was heard. This day will be remembered by the entire supernatural world as one of the most important dates in all of history, the voice of the leader of heaven was heard. Let us give a warm welcome to the person for whom we are all gathered today, said the Mao Leviathan. At that moment the light pointed to the chestnut tree and some curtains opened, showing a large room where many demons and beings as well as leaders of all factions were present. To the hero who defeated the Trihexa and all the evil dragons, to the hero who granted us the current peace and the pillar of the alliance between factions, to the Securite Hyoudou Issei, spoke the Mao Beelzebub. Just at that moment Issei wondered what was happening, but his doubts were immediately answered. Hyoudou Issei on behalf of the Council of the Underworld, as well as on behalf of the four Mao and the leaders of all factions, for your achievements such as stopping Kakabiel to defeat the Trihexa at this moment, you are granted the rank of Supreme Class Devil as well, as part of the territory of the Underworld. Congratulations Hyoudou Issei, you are the strongest pawn in all of history, said the Mao Lucifer with great happiness and pride. What's happening? Is it a dream? The brown-haired boy wondered. No, my friend, that's what you just saw. You've been promoted to a Supreme Class Devil. Give a big round of applause to the hero of all factions, said the Mao Leviathan quite excitedly. Chapter 4. A new problem. What's happening? Is it a dream? The brown-haired boy wondered. No, my friend, that's what you just saw. You've been promoted to a Supreme Class Devil. Give a big round of applause to the hero of all factions, said the Mao Leviathan quite excitedly. At that moment the place was filled with applause and shouts of happiness. What the heck, Drake, I think I want to cry with emotion, said the brown-haired boy to his faithful companion. Just enjoy it, after all you've earned it, said the dragon. Suddenly the leaders approached the chestnut tree to greet him. Congratulations Issei-kun, you are now a Supreme Class Devil, said the red-haired Mao. Thank you Surziches-sama, said the young brown-haired boy. Congratulations brat, I know it was hard to get here, but rest assured that Asgard will always support you in whatever you need. Thanks Odin-sama, Issei thanked the gesture. At that moment Surziches took the microphone. Each and every one of the 72 pillar clans of the underworld have given you a gift today in commemoration of your rise, but not only them, each of the faction leaders have also given you a gift, enjoy it Hyoudou Issei, said the red-haired Mao with great joy and pride. After Surziches' words Odin took the microphone. On behalf of the Nordic faction, you were granted a legion of Einarjars and Valkyries, as a symbol of friendship and respect towards you young hero. I must also thank you personally for taking charge of the Trihexa and preventing chaos from breaking out, you undoubtedly have the favor of this old god, said the old Nordic god. Michael immediately took the microphone. First of all, thank you very much for everything you have done for us. On behalf of everyone in heaven, I grant you one of the legions of angels in heaven to help you with everything you need, said the leader of heaven. After that Shemhazai took the floor. For our part, we have granted you a legion of fallen angels as a symbol of respect and admiration. Congratulations Hyoudou Issei, the strongest and noblest Securite in all of history, said the Governor-General of Grigori. Isaka immediately took the microphone and with great joy said. We bestow you with great joy and pride to a legion of Yakai who have decided to give you their eternal loyalty. I must also say that we will always be eternally grateful, said the leader of Kyoto. For a long time they were offering the chestnut presents and congratulating him on his promotion of him. Human World Kuo General Hospital. At that moment Akio was entering the hospital in a hurry with Nagisa in her arms. It must be said that the young woman was breathing heavily and agitatedly. Immediately, nurses laid the young brunette on a stretcher and proceeded to admit her due to her already serious condition. At that moment, a hospital secretary approached Nagisa's parents who looked worried. I need you to give me the patient's information, please, asked the secretary kindly, who received a folder with Nagisa's medical documents. Furukawa, Nagisa whispered the secretary as she immediately proceeded to her office, leaving Nagisa's parents alone, who had a rather sad expression. Nagisa, please hold on, daughter, Sani repeated, quite worried and almost on the verge of tears, while her husband consoled her by hugging her. At that moment a doctor approached Nagisa's parents. Are Furukawa Nagisa's parents really? The doctor asked. If it's us, tell me, how is our daughter? Asked the Akio. We have managed to stabilize her, but I must tell you that she will be hospitalized until at least tomorrow afternoon, so I ask you to be patient, said the doctor, before leaving, receiving thanks from Nagisa's now calmer parents. Sani, let's go see Nagisa and then go home later. We have to take care of the bakery at least in the morning, said the light reed. "Of course, let's encourage Nagisa, and maybe Issei-kun will come to visit her," said the brunette, much more excited. "You're right, Ethanol will probably come in the morning," said Akio, calling Issei by the nickname he gave him. After that they went to the room where Nagisa was and then stayed to talk to her. Underworld high-class event hall. Hyoudou Issei was in the place surrounded by several nobles who congratulated him and even asked the young brown-haired boy for his autograph. In the distance he saw Ria's Grimory's entourage who began to approach Issei, while the nobles retreated to give them space. "Ice, congratulations on your promotion as a supreme class devil as your ex-master. I am quite proud of you," said the Reed quite happily. "I must thank you for everything you did for me, and I hope we can all work together now that I am a supreme class devil," said the brown-haired boy. "Of course Ice, you will always be our dear friend and companion," said Riaz as she managed to spot Sona Citri approaching. "Congratulations on your promotion Hyoudou-kun, I hope to work together protecting Kuo," said the young Citri. "Thank you Sona Kaicho, I wish it that way too, and I hope we succeed in everything we set out to do," said the brown-haired boy with a smile. "Yes, I hope so too," said Sona, but suddenly she could see how a servant of her house called her to come closer, and when she did, he gave her a document that when she read it, she was shocked and then she returned to her usual serious face and called Saji. "Saji, I entrust you with this, it is of the utmost importance to the underworld," said Sona with a serious face. "Understood Kaicho, I'll go right away," said the blonde Citri, leaving the place quickly without being seen by anyone. Meanwhile Issei watched as his eternal rival and his great friend approached him to congratulate him. "Issei, congratulations, you are now a supreme class demon, although after what happened with Trihexa, it was more than obvious. After all, it was you who annihilated him with a single attack," said the platinum-haired man. "You're exaggerating, Great Red was the one who did it, I only supported him," said the brown-haired boy, watching as his human parents and his self-proclaimed dragon parents approached. It should be said that Great Red was in human form and resembled Issei, only with more mature aspects and red hair, while Office now had an adult appearance, and now her eyes had more color. It should be said that little Lilith came with them, but upon seeing the brown-haired boy, she ran into her arms to say. "Ani-chan, I missed you so much," he said while rubbing his cheeks against the brown-haired boy's very tenderly. "I missed you too Lilith-tan my cute Amado," said the brown-haired boy while still carrying the little girl in his arms and then looking at Vali and saying, "I'm serious, I didn't defeat Trihexa, only you helped me, right, Daddy Red," said Issei speaking to Great Red. "Son, I think they haven't told you yet, right?" said the older brown-haired boy. "What do you mean, Dad?" said the brown-haired boy, surprised. "I just gave you a little push, almost all of the attack was mostly from you, I would say 90% of it," said the Great Red, leaving the brown-haired boy stunned. "If you hadn't done so, it would have taken you longer to wake up. By the way, the reason your attack was so powerful is because for an instant you used the power we gave you when you came back to life, and with it, you surpassed us in the process, although it was only momentary. I'm sure that in the future you will be the strongest of all," Office said quite happily. "Issei, from what I heard, you are now number 3 in the world rankings, along with Indra and Office," said Vali, quite excited. "Although don't think I'll just sit back and do nothing, I'll be the strongest," said Vali defiantly. "I hope so, Vali, although I will never let you gain power over me. I have a lot to protect," Issei said as he looked at Lilith saying the last thing. "If you fu Issei now that you will have 2 sisters you must make an effort son," said his human mother. "Rest assured, mother," said Issei, but at that moment Surziches took the microphone standing where Issei was at the beginning of the event. "Ladies and gentlemen, we want to present to you one of the most important moments in history. Please watch the screen." At that moment, a fairly large screen came down to show an image of Issei in his Diabolos dragon god armor fighting against the Trihexa and several evil dragons. As the video plays you can see how Issei begins to glow a dark red like blood itself, but at the same time you can see how the jewels of the armor shine in an intense white, well you can see how an attack begins to charge, and that was the infinite blaster that was fired at the beast of the Trihexa apocalypse, along with the Long-Ina Smasher fusing and annihilating the evil dragons while it was. Noticed how the Trihexa tried hard to contain the attack, but it was losing ground. At that moment you can see how a dimensional fissure opens, giving way to the Great Red who supports Issei, granting him more power, and launching an attack against the Trihexa, who in a carelessness to protect himself from the attack of the Great Red, neglected his defense against the powerful attack of Issei which engulfed him and disintegrated him, giving way to the attack to continue getting lost in the infinity of outer space. At that moment the video ended. The entire room fell silent, but was immediately broken by applause and cheers for the young brown-haired boy, who was left with his mouth open when he noticed that his attack even consumed the attack that Great Red had launched, leaving him stunned. After that the evening continued until it was over. It must be said that the brown-haired boy danced that night with many noble demons, but more with his little sister Lilith. Human World Hyoudou residence next day. It was morning and the young brown-haired boy was getting ready to go to the academy. Despite having stayed up late at his promotion party, he was still full of energy. He left home early and before Asia, since he wanted to get to the Kuo Academy early, which for some reason made him happy. On the way, he met the Fujibayashi twins accompanied by their friends Mitsuda and Motohama. "Good morning Kaiu, good morning Ryu, good morning Mitsuda and Motohama," he said happily while greeting his friends. "Good morning Issei," said the long-haired twin. "Good morning Issei-kun," Ryu said happily. "Hey Issei, how are you? You look very happy. Did something good happen?" Mitsuda said. "It must have been pretty good because you always arrive at school yawning," Motohama said. "Haha, I would say that something good has happened, but it is a secret. By the way, haven't you seen Nagisa?" asked the brown-haired boy. "Not since yesterday afternoon after going shopping with Asia, Irina and Zenovia," said the Kaiu. "Hello, how are you?" said Sunohara, approaching and smiling. "Hey Sunohara, we're fine and you're happy because your girlfriend sent you a good morning message," Issei said maliciously. "It wasn't a message, it was a call," shouted the blonde, not realizing that he was digging his own grave. "Sunohara, you must be so happy to have a girlfriend, and who would say that she was so beautiful? I didn't believe it," said Kaiu just to annoy the blonde a little who didn't understand the situation almost and said. "Yes, I'm also impressed, Aika-chan is so beautiful that I think I died and went to heaven," he said, without realizing that a certain brunette with glasses heard him say that. She timidly approached him and hugged him from behind, scaring him a little when he saw that she was completely blushing. "And I'm happy to be with you, you're so cute with me," said the brunette blushing at the young blonde. And so they continued their way to the academy with the couple holding hands and being bothered by the others who even took video of how they acted so shy when they were together, making them angry and getting ahead of them. Upon arriving at the academy, several students he began to murmur while looking at Issei and his friends, more specifically Mitsuda and Motohama. Upon entering their classroom they were surrounded by all their classmates who began to bombard them with questions like, "Could you sing so well?" Or "What instruments can you play?" Leaving them confused and then watching as Murayama and Kadis played videos on their cell phones showing them to everyone, and those videos were from when they went to karaoke with the girls. It must be said that the students calmed down when they saw their teacher arrive who began to give the class, but not before congratulating the trio of musicians, something that surprised them since they were always treated like garbage, but now they were admired by their classmates and even by their teachers. But a question was going around in the brown-haired boy's head, where is Nagisa? At lunchtime Issei was called to the student council room, which left everyone surprised because they had only called him. Upon arriving he was greeted by Tsubaki, who had a rather sad look inside. He could see Azazel in the place next to Sona Citri. "Boy, sit down, we need to talk," said the fallen one as Issei proceeded to sit down. "What's wrong, Azazel? It's weird to see you acting like that," said the brown-haired boy, somewhat surprised by the fallen man's attitude. "Hyoudou-kun, I must inform you that yesterday afternoon Furukawa Nagisa was admitted to the Kuo General Hospital while we were at your promotion party. I sent Saji to extract Furukawa-san's excess magic and they managed to stabilize her," said Sona Citri, causing the brunette to suddenly stand up and appear extremely worried. "Before you rush boy, I must give you this," said the fallen, giving him a bracelet with a design of dangos of different colors. He immediately put it away, but before Azazel left he forcibly sat Issei down again and said, "You should know something else, this bracelet is only a countermeasure, but it is not the solution. I must also give you some very bad news," said Azazel with clear sadness on his face. "What is wrong?" Issei said, already very scared and worried about Nagisa. "Furukawa Nagisa has at most 2 years left to live, I'm sorry to say, but unless she is reincarnated into a demon she will eventually die," said Azazel, watching as Issei fell to the ground on his knees and began to cry in frustration. "Azazel, thanks for everything, I have to go with Nagisa now," said the brown-haired boy, leaving the place in a hurry. "Issei, I know how important she is to you, but unless you make that difficult decision, she will eventually die," Azazel said in a low voice to the air, but Sona heard everything and she felt helpless not to be able to do something for her friend. In the hallways, Issei was seen running at full speed, dodging the students who noticed how he was quite sad as he left the Kuo Academy. He continued running until he reached Nagisa's house, and upon arrival he found Nagisa's parents tending to the bakery. "Welcome, oh it's you Ethanol, I thought you were a customer," said the light red-haired man. "I'm sorry, I'm not a customer. By the way, how is Nagisa-chan? Wait, is my name Ethanol?" said the brown-haired boy, questioning the last thing. "Thanks for coming, but he's still in the hospital resting, and just so you know, he was N''T saying your name out of delirium or anything like that," said Nagisa's father. "Don't ask that last thing," said the brown-haired boy with a drop of sweat on the back of his neck. And if I had to say something it would be Dad, I love you, you're the best, you're perfect for my beautiful mother, said Akio while hugging himself, but his expression changed to an annoyed one, and he shouted, don't make me say such nonsense. But you said that yourself, shouted the brown-haired boy with a vein on his forehead. Issei-san, said Nagisa's mother arriving at the place, have you come to see Nagisa? Yes, it's just that I'm quite worried. I heard that he was in bed, the brown-haired boy lied. It's nothing, it's just a slight fever, but Nagisa is already quite weak. Last year she spent a lot of time without going to school, so the doctor told us that she would stay in the hospital today to be safe, said Nagisa's mother. I see, said Issei, although he already knew that. Here is some sani bread, said Akio. Come on, take it, it's because you came to see her. I have handed her a bag full of bread. I didn't come for that, said the brown-haired boy. Don't be so modest, they're just leftovers, and such, he said Akio, but realizing that he had made a mistake. So my bread, so my bread, said Nagisa's mother while crying, it's the ballast of Furukawa bakery, she screamed while covering her face, crying as she ran out of the place. I love it, said Nagisa's father, putting 2 loaves of bread in his mouth as he ran after his wife. I should have gone straight to the hospital, said the brown-haired boy with a drop of sweat on the back of his neck. Excuse me, where are the managers? Said to young customer. I ran away, I looked at the bag I had in my hand and handed it to him, take it if you want. Are you sure? The client asked. Yes, it's because they gave it to me, said the brown-haired boy. Thank you very much, thank Sani and her husband for me, said the young customer as she left the place. After a while, Nagisa's parents returned and, embarrassed, apologized to Issei. Nagisa's mother gave him a bag of bread as an apology for what happened, and without saying anything, the brown-haired boy took it and said goodbye to them. When he arrived at the hospital he felt demonic presences in the place, and to be more exact, they were the employees of the place, the same secretary who attended Nagisa's parents, approached the brown-haired boy. Nice to meet you in person, Issei-sama, you came to visit the patient Furukawa-san, said the young secretary. The pleasure is mine, if I come to see her, do you know what room she is in? Issei asked. Of course, follow me, Issei-sama. She continued to guide the brunette out of Nagisa's room. Upon entering the room, Nagisa sat on the bed and smiled, but suddenly he got angry. Hello Issei-kun, why are you here? You missed class, he said, the last thing would be. Hello Nagisa-chan, I came to see you. When I heard you were in the hospital, I immediately came to see you, said the brown-haired boy, not noticing the blush of the young brunette. Here, I brought you a gift, he said, taking the bracelet out of his jacket pocket. It's a bracelet from the Great Dango family. It's for luck, so never take it off, said the brown-haired boy as he put the bracelet on her left wrist. Issei-kun, she said, blushing but quite happy. You're welcome Nagisa, said the brown-haired boy as he walked to the door with his back to Nagisa, thinking at that moment how cute Nagisa-chan looked when she received the bracelet. Wait, why did I think that? It's because she has become important to you since the moment you met her, partner. Well, I'm going to sleep, said the Welsh dragon, but while he was going to answer, he could see Nagisa's smile which caused his heart to tremble, and then he opened the door and said. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to go back or they'll scold me. Issei-kun, classes are almost over, said Nagisa. You're right, well I'll see you tomorrow in class Nagisa, he said goodbye and closing the door to then leave the place, but Nagisa stared at the bracelet on his left wrist while smiling and tears of happiness ran down his blushing cheeks as he whispered in a low voice, thank you Issei-kun, something that only she heard, while the brown-haired boy thought about the words that Azazel had said to him. Before leaving the academy. Chapter 5. The Hyoudou territory and the movie. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to go back or they'll scold me. Issei-kun, classes are almost over, said Nagisa. You're right, well I'll see you tomorrow in class Nagisa, he said goodbye and closing the door to then leave the place, but Nagisa stared at the bracelet on his left wrist while smiling and tears of happiness ran down his blushing cheeks as he whispered in a low voice, thank you Issei-kun, something that only she heard, while the brown-haired boy thought about the words that Azazel had said to him. Before leaving the academy. After that he went to the forest on the outskirts of the city of Kuo and placed a powerful barrier, and just as he finished this path to the center and began to scream loudly filled with anger and pain for everything that Nagisa was going through, he was expelling large amounts of power while hitting the ground. Nagisa-chan, I promise that I will find a way to save you without having to turn you into a demon, and if I have to, I will tell you who I am, he said seriously into the void, while tears of frustration ran down his cheeks. Comrade, don't despair, I know you'll make it anyway, remember that you're a very stubborn idiot, said the Welsh dragon. Thanks Drake, although the idiot part was unnecessary, but you know you're right. I'd rather be a stubborn idiot than give up. I'll save Nagisa even if it costs me my own life, said the brown-haired boy with determination. That's how you talk, mate. Now I suppose you'll start training. You've already gone 3 days without doing it. At this rate, volley will be enough for you. I won't even let him catch up with me in my dreams. I'll become the strongest, but first I have to talk to Azazel about something, said the brown-haired boy. And what exactly are you going to talk to him about? It's something about Nagisa, the dragon questioned, intrigued. Yes, to be clear, I'm referring to the drama club. I understand, even so, don't neglect your training, at least train a little inside the boosted gear while you sleep so you won't weaken. Remember that you must create a less lethal technique. Remember how that renegade demon was left with a simple dragon shoot, he said, seriously scolding him for neglecting his training. Yes, I will train at night while I sleep. Now it's time to see Azazel, he said as he dispelled the barrier and teleported to the occult club. After arriving, he didn't imagine seeing Asia worried as she approached uneasily because the brown-haired boy went to the student council room and didn't return to class. Nisan, why didn't you come back? Did something bad happen? The blonde asked worriedly. Sorry Asia, but I had something urgent to do and I couldn't waste time. This was more important, said the brown-haired boy, still sad. I know what happened, this doesn't look like you, you know you can count on us, said Ria's worried about her ex-pawn. Senpai, tell us what you have, we can help you, said the white-haired loli. Issei senpai, if there's anything I can do, I'll help you, said the little damper. Ice-kun, I swear I'll do whatever it takes to help you with your problems, said the Bishonen knight. Thank you all, I would like you to sit down, I will tell you everything, said the brown-haired boy, grateful for the support of his friends. He proceeded to tell them about Nagisa's illness and its side effects. It must be said that everyone present had a rather sad expression due to the fact that such a young girl, alien to the supernatural, has to go through something as horrible as that. I promise to help you find a solution, there must be something we can do, said the determined Reed. Nice and sob, I promise to help you in whatever way, sobbed Nagisa-chan, said the blonde, crying for her new friend Ella because she already had a lot of affection for the brunette. I can help you contain the advance with Senjutsu, but I need to do it when you are not conscious, said Kaneko, still wiping the tears from her cheeks. Issei senpai, I may be able to do something with the residual magic and decrease your magic reserves at least a little, said the transvestite damper, but at that moment, Azazel appeared and said. I had already thought about all that, but I must tell you that even with all that it would only prolong your life a few years, but at least you would not suffer so much. Issei, I come for you. Ajuka already has your evil pieces ready, we must go to the underworld. Ria's Gremory, the girl is in the hospital, go and do what you can do for her, but do not reincarnate her into a demon. That decision must be made by Issei, said the fallen, but Issei immediately responded. If I reincarnate her, I'll ask her directly if she wants to, but before that I'll tell her who I am, said the brown-haired boy seriously. Well, let's go, Azazel. Ajuka must be waiting for us. Having said that, they retreated into a magic circle, but those present were stunned to hear him say that he would reveal what it would be necessary to save the brown-haired boy's life. Having said that, they immediately retired to the hospital. Underworld Mayu Beelzebub's office. Azazel and Issei arrived at the office of the Mayu Beelzebub, where he was already waiting for them. Welcome Issei-kun, I already have your set of pieces ready, but I have to say that these are not normal pieces, they are a new prototype called Opportunity Piece, said the Mayu, without beating around the bush on the matter. Opportunity Piece? Well, I think they should be better than the Mutation Piece, said the brown-haired boy. Correct, these pieces are more powerful and still have some secrets that we don't know, so I ask you to send me a report on what you discover about it, said the green-haired Mayu. Well Issei, you should know that these pieces were made in conjunction with the three factions, so they may have several mysteries, said the fallen one. I understand, then that's how it will be. I'll send a report about it as soon as I reincarnate someone, said the brown-haired boy. I appreciate that Issei-kun, now here, he said, extending an elegant chest case. All that's left is to go to your new territory so you can get to know your new castle, said the Mayu, impressing the brown-haired boy. Well, let's go, I hope you like what you see, said the fallen man smiling. But that said, they teleported to the Hyoudou territory. Human World Kuo General Hospital. The members of the occult club arrived at the hospital where Nagisa was, so after requesting information about Nagisa's condition and asking where his room was, they were guided by a nurse, and upon arriving, Asia opened the door and threw herself at Nagisa, crying. Nagisa-chan, are you okay? Said the blonde in tears. Asia-chan, I feel fine, it was just a little fever. At that moment she noticed the presence of the rest of the occult club. Hello Kiba-kun, Gasper-chan, Zenobia-chan, she greeted happily. Who are the others? Asked the brunette. Hello, I'm Ria's Gremory, I'm a friend of Issei, the Reet introduced herself. I'm Taojo Kaneko, nice to meet you, the white-haired loli introduced herself. Nice to meet you, I'm Himejima Akeno. I'm Issei-kun's friend and former clubmate, Akeno said, which surprised the brunette since she didn't know that Issei was in a club. Nice to meet you. I'm Furukawa Nagisa. I see that Issei-kun told you that he was in the hospital, said Nagisa. "If Issei told us about you, he really cares about you," said the redeed, noticing how the last thing made the brunette blush a little. Suddenly Nagisa began to fall asleep and was laid down by Asia on the hospital bed, then she proceeded to use Twilight Healing to heal the internal damage caused by the excess of magic, while Gasper used his vampire powers to absorb Nagisa's excess magic and reduce her magic reserves a little. When she finished doing so, it was Kaneko's turn, who used Senjutsu to strengthen Nagisa's body a little and heal it a little so that it would adapt even a little to magic. After that they let her rest, but not before waking her up to say goodbye. It must be said that Nagisa was embarrassed for falling asleep while she had visitors. Upon leaving the hospital, the Gremory entourage left the place to continue with their club activities, while in Nagisa's room, her parents told her that she had already been discharged and that they could go home in peace. Infrastructure Issei Hyoudou territory. Issei arrived with Ajuka and Azazel to what would be their new territory, but he did not expect to find an exact replica of the Mosna castle in Poland as their property in the underworld, but not only that, but to see several Einarjars, Valkyries, Yaukes, vampires, fallen, demons and angels welcoming him to his new territory. The Einarjars raised their swords and maces to the sky shouting, "We swear to serve you for eternity," while the Valkyries surrounded their pugasi raising their weapons shouting, "For the honor and glory of your house." The Yaokai continued casting various spells into the sky, shouting to the eternal hero of majestic crimson armor, so that the vampires transformed into bats, shouting, "Savior of the supernatural world," and the human to end with a collision of sacred and demonic attacks in the sky launched by the angels, the fallen ones and the demons to the most powerful, humble and noble Sekiryuite in all history, and they all ended by shouting while fireworks exploded in the sky, "Hyoudou Issei." Just at that moment Issei, he was totally in shock, but he knew how to control his impression and thank the welcome as a noble would do. Upon entering the castle he could see that there were hundreds of maids and butlers receiving him and taking care of the place. Upon arriving at what would be his office, he could see that there was a group of maids taking care of everything that was documentation and matters of his territory, so that he would not have to take care of too many matters and could focus only on the most important things and the difficult decisions. "I have mentally thanked Grafia for making sure things worked out that way." Upon reaching the living room, he sat down in a comfortable chair and proceeded to speak. "I'm very impressed, I can't even believe that this territory is mine," he said, still shocked by everything he saw. "Indeed, it could be said that it is the third richest territory in the underworld and it was only founded a few days ago," said the Mau Beelzebub. "This place is really beautiful and you haven't seen anything yet." Several low, middle and high-class demons, upon learning the location of their territory, did not hesitate to make small towns around it to be close to you, said Azazel, as he took a glass of wine that a maid served him and Ajuka. For obvious reasons it had not been served to Issei since he was still a minor, although he was close to coming of age. "They admire me so much, damn, I guess I have to act up to the task." At that moment the place was illuminated by a magic circle of the Phoenix clan from which Ravel emerged dressed as a businesswoman and with some documents in hand. "Indeed Issei-sama, however, don't forget that you have a series and a movie to record," said the blonde with spiral pigtails. "I understand Ravel, but right now I have to manage my territory at least a little," said the brown-haired boy, but a maid approached as soon as she heard that and said, "Don't worry, Issei-sama, we can take care of that. You can set aside your time for yourself and your responsibilities, and we will be happy to help you in your territory," he said to the maid while others agreed. "In that case I thank you, Ravel, in that case let me finish my business with Ajuka-sama and Azazel, and I will go to the set right away," said the brown-haired man, but the green-haired Mau said, "Interesting, I want to see the recording." "What are you saying, Azazel?" said the Mau. "It would be great for me. I want to see if they filmed the final fight of the movie or another episode of the series," said the fallen one. "Okay, Issei-sama, let's go," Ravel said, preparing a magic circle for the four of them and disappearing from the place to reappear on a recording set where Razor Phoenix was waiting. "I see you've already come and even dressed to film the final scene of our fight for the movie. Honestly I like this scene more than what really happened," said the blonde Phoenix. "Me too, who would have thought that they would change Rias for a princess of a kingdom and that you would be a rival and not the villain," said the brown-haired boy. "I see that I'm not the only one who sees it like this. Well, let's go to the set. I want to record the fight right away. This is going to get interesting," said the older Phoenix. "Follow me, it's this way," Ravel said, indicating to the pair of actors where they had to record. Upon arriving, it was an exact replica of the ceremony hall, where the engagement of Rias and Razor would be announced. It must be said that the latter was wearing the same suit he had on that occasion, and Issei had the same uniform as that time. Razor was asked to take his position in the place that corresponded to him, while Issei was sitting right behind the door, with his boosted gear manifested, and a pair of actors dressed as guards, waiting with him for the director to give the order that they should enter, just like in the Gremory Phoenix ceremony. On the other hand, Azazel and Ajika watched everything excitedly along with several employees of the set, more precisely those of editing. Next to them was the project director who was about to give the order. "Good lights, camera, action," shouted the director, and at that moment Riser began his monologue while Issei waited for the order to enter to begin the battle against the guards and with Riser Phoenix. On the monitors. Riser Phoenix was already in the final part of his monologue. "And without further ado, allow me to introduce my Empress Sylvia Vandlaner." Just at that moment Issei entered, knocking down several guards. "Red Rider," said the young woman wearing a wedding dress. "Sylvia," Issei shouted from across the room. "How dare you come in?" Riser said. "I am Red Rider Dragon, a member of Rider Dragon, and I will not allow you to force Miss Vandlaner to marry." The actress intended to blush while Riser Phoenix gave the order for the guards to attack Issei, who engaged in combat with them, quickly defeating them. "If you want to save Princess Sylvia so much, you'll have to face me, Red Rider Dragon," said Riser, as a magic circle transported them to a battlefield just like the one they fought on to save Riaz from her engagement. "I will defeat you and take her back to her kingdom of her, but I have a question. Did you want to force her to marry you just to provoke me into a final fight between us?" said the brown-haired boy. "Indeed, for some reason you are my rival, you understand everything quickly, so face me, legendary beast Red Emperor Dragon," said the blonde phoenix, launching himself against the brown-haired boy who responded. "I will definitely crush you, immortal phoenix Filigard Phoenix," said the brown-haired boy as he jumped into the fight that, it must be said, was a real one. "Kicks, bursts of energy and fire along with more blows was what I saw until the brown-haired boy screamed. "Transformation," he said while making a superhero pose while in the boosted gear. Drake shouted at the top of his lungs, "Red Rider Dragon, scale male," and at that moment the director said, "Cut for Issei to enter the balance breaker and show his armor." "Action," shouted the director so that Issei instantly launched the attack, but Riser Phoenix shouted, "Transformation," and at that moment he was surrounded by a lot of fire, while a voice was heard that said immortal phoenix, fire male, and at that moment, Riser came out covered in armor made of pure fire, while tongues of blue fire surrounded him, giving a more striking appearance. Right after they launched into combat, the blows came and went with great force, while Issei obviously gained ground until Riser lost his transformation and was defeated by Issei to end the fight. Minutes later already on the set. "Damn Riser, that transformation impressed me. I could feel that you weren't fighting seriously. If you did, I would have burned myself," said the brown-haired boy. "But you contained your true strength. If you didn't do it, not even my regeneration would have saved me, hahaha," said the blonde phoenix a little nervously. "Okay Ravel, with that all the scenes are already recorded, right?" said the brown-haired boy to the younger blonde. "Indeed, Issei-sama, all that's left is editing and the movie will be ready," Ravel said. "Well, in that case I'm leaving. I have to go get my things from school. I left everything there, hahaha." I laughed nervously as I disappeared into a magic circle. "Gosh, this guy forgot about us," the fallen man complained. "He has too many things on his mind and he doesn't focus enough, after all he is just a young man," said the Mao Beelzebub. Human World Kuo Academy. Issei appeared in the academy's infirmary from which he quickly left to go to his classroom, where he arrived to get his supplies, finding a note on his desk that said, "Ice Niacin, I took your things to the house, Dad and Mom arrive at night, so please come home early." After reading the note he used a magic circle, leaving the place to get to his house. It must be said that it was already getting dark and that it would not be long before the sun would set on the horizon, so the young brown-haired boy went teleporting to his house. He apologized to Asia for the delay. "Ice Niacin, Dad and Mom will be here soon. Help me prepare the table while I finish the meal," Asia said, a little annoyed. "Okay, let's get to it," said the brown-haired boy, beginning to put the plates and bowls on the table while Asia finished making dinner. After half an hour they heard someone open the door of the house and enter, so Asia and Issei went to greet their parents, without thinking that they would not be the only ones to arrive. Also being Great Red and Office along with little Lilith, who upon seeing the brown-haired boy, ran in a hurry to hug him saying, "Ani-chan, I missed you," said the little dragon as she was lifted in the arms of the brown-haired boy while he smiled saying, "I missed you too, Lilith-tan, my cute Amado," said the brown-haired boy as he rubbed his cheek against the little dragon's, eliciting a sigh from everyone present. However, as soon as he put her down, he ran towards the blonde ex-nun and hugged her saying, "Asia Wani-chan, I missed you," said little Lilith as Asia bent down to the little dragon's height to hug her and tell her, "Hi, I missed you too, Lilith-chan," she said as the little girl rubbed her cheek against the blonde's cheeks. "Dad, Mom, how did your trip go?" said the brown-haired boy, referring to his biological parents. "Well son, we had a lot of fun. I'm sorry I didn't talk to you anymore at your promotion party," said the older brown-haired boy. Yes, I hope that now you are more responsible. You have to do things right now that you are a supreme class demon, said his mother as she approached to hug her son. I will do my best. I want you to be proud of me, said the young brown-haired boy while his parents hugged him. Son, I hope you don't neglect your training. You must be stronger than me or your mother, said Great Red next to Office. That's for sure Dad Red, I'm going to surpass you, and I'll be the new Red Emperor Dragon God, said the brown-haired boy, while Great Red raised his thumb in acceptance for that. After all the business they went to the dining room where they had dinner in a very familiar atmosphere, although Lilith did not leave the side of the brown-haired boy who smiled happily at his little sister. After finishing dinner Issei went to the bathroom to get ready to sleep, without a doubt this day had exhausted him. The next day Issei barely got up, he was really exhausted because despite having slept he was training in the mental space inside the boosted gear, so he was still exhausted, well at least mentally. He went down to have breakfast after getting ready to go to the academy, however he knew he was already late, so he decided to go slowly, but he didn't expect to meet Nagisa, who was waiting for him in a corner. Good morning Issei-kun, said the brunette happily, it must be said that she was wearing her bracelet with a dango design. Nagisa-chan, good morning, what are you doing? You'll be late, said the brown-haired boy kindly. I was waiting to see you so we could go to the academy together, said the brunette, but then she put on a sad face, don't you want to? No, it's not because of that, well let's go, said the brown-haired boy making the brunette smile. Yes, said the young student as they walked together. We have to open the club as soon as possible, Issei commented. Well yes, answered Nagisa. We could ask Azazel for help, said the brown-haired boy. At that moment they heard the engine of a scooter so they turned back. Get out of the way, Issei Caillou shouted, but it was too late, so Issei pushed Nagisa aside while preparing to be hit and was instantly thrown to the side by the blow, falling face first to the ground while Caillou skidded and separated from the scooter, saying Issei worried. Issei-kun, are you okay? Nagisa said very scared. Please get up. Hey Issei-kun, enough, shout, calm down Caillou. Issei-kun. Nagisa said, already very worried. It seems that it is okay, said Caillou calmly turning on the scooter. You're going to leave me stranded, Issei said quite annoyed as he got up from the ground. I'm just kidding, Caillou said amused as she realized that Issei had not been injured. Nagisa-chan, aren't you hurt? Issei asked worriedly. I'm fine, but you? I asked, still worried. I feel fine, said the brown-haired boy. Oh, Caillou said. What's wrong? Said Issei. I've been thinking this since they met, but they're not getting along very well, they even call each other by their names, could it be that they're dating? Have they kissed? Caillou said with slight malice, causing both brunettes to be more than impressed. Of course not, shouted the brown-haired boy, somewhat annoyed. Issei-kun has only been being nice to me and helping me reopen the drama club, we're not dating, she said quite embarrassed. Well, let's leave it at that, I'll get going, he said as he left on his scooter. Issei-kun, you're not really hurt? Nagisa asked worriedly. Don't worry, I feel fine, but I'll go to the infirmary later anyway, come on Nagisa-chan, said the brown-haired boy, downplaying the importance. Yes, Issei-kun, the brunette answered as she walked to Kuo Academy. Upon arriving, they sat down in their seats and began classes. At lunchtime, he sent a message to Sunohara to wait for him in the tree outside the old occult building, while he asked Mitsuda, Motohama Caillou, Ryu, Aika and Nagisa to accompany him. Upon arriving at the place, Sunohara greeted the others as they sat on the grass. I've gathered you because I want you to help me revive the drama club, Issei said seriously. As we said before, anything for a friend, we will help you, Issei, said Mitsuda smiling while raising his thumb. If you count on us, Issei, we will help you, Motohama said. I don't care about acting, but at least I could lend my name and help in any way I can, said Sunohara, sitting next to Aika. I do want to help, whether it's acting or behind the scenes, Aika said excitedly as Caillou and Ryu whispered in each other's ears. Issei, we have decided to help in any way we can. The truth is that we don't feel like acting, but we can help behind the scenes, Caillou said while his sister nodded at what her sister had said. This way we will have more members, and we will be able to reopen the theater club, Ryu said quite happily. I appreciate you joining us so we can fulfill Nagisa's dream, Issei said happily. To tell you the truth, I feel like I'm forcing them to help me, and I feel bad about that, Nagisa said a little sadly. Don't feel like that, Nagisa, we're helping you because we want to, said the long-haired purple-haired girl. But we need a teacher in charge of the club, said Nagisa giving a valid point. I've already taken care of that, isn't that right Azazel, said the brown-haired boy as he turned back to see Azazel leaning against the tree. So, do you want to form a drama club? Azazel said, somewhat mysteriously. If we want to collaborate in the school festival, said Caillou. We are enough, we just need a club tutor to be recognized as a club, said Issei. Would you like to be our club tutor? Nagisa asked. They would like to discuss that with the choir club, Azazel said in a serious tone. Chapter 6. The opening of the club. We are enough, we just need a club tutor to be recognized as a club, said Issei. Would you like to be our club tutor? Nagisa asked. They would like to discuss that with the choir club, Azazel said in a serious tone. What are you talking about, Azazel? Weren't you going to help me with this? The brown-haired boy asked, somewhat annoyed. Go talk to them and you'll soon understand, said Azazel with a somewhat sad expression, something that did not go unnoticed by the brown-haired boy. Well, I'll go talk to them personally. It must be important if you make that face, Issei said, now calmer. Issei-kun, do you know Azazel-sensei from somewhere? They talk like old acquaintances. Nagisa asked, somewhat curious. In fact, when he was a member of the occult club, he was the teacher in charge. Now he is Rasuo-sensei, said the brown-haired boy. You still are, you know. You haven't handed in your resignation to the club, seriously kid, you need to stop thinking about so many things at once, said Azazel, complaining about the last thing. You're right, I have to hand in my resignation arg because I didn't remember, the brown-haired boy shouted the last thing, frustrated by how forgetful he was. Issei ran off to the occult club, leaving everyone with a drop on their necks, but Azazel decided to break the strange silence that formed when the brown-haired boy left. The poor guy has so many things on his mind that he can't think clearly anymore. I hope that at least the drama club can help him distract himself. That's why, Nagisa-chan. I need you to help him in whatever way you can. I know I'm asking a lot, but I hope you can help me with this, said the fallen man to the brunette. Issei-kun has done a lot for me, so I will do my best to help him, Nagisa said with determination. In fact, Issei has helped us all, so we have to help him in any way we can, said the long-haired twin. If I agree with my sister, Issei-san will always count on our help, Ryu said as he got up from the grass to stand next to his sister. I don't even need to say anything, right, Mitsuda said the black-haired man with glasses. That's right, Motohama, there's no need to say it, said the bald man. For my friend Issei, whatever, said Sunohara next to Aika, who agreed. I'm glad you care and support him in whatever it is. I'll go to the teacher's room. Tell Issei that I'll wait for him there when I finish talking to the choir club, although I think he'll finish doing it himself. Anyway, see you later, said the fallen one as he left. Issei was leaving the occult club while the members of it looked somewhat sad, but they knew that sooner or later Issei would leave the club, so they already expected this, but they did not expect the travel decided to leave the club to follow Issei, because according to her, the drama club could work to get actors for the series, so they both left the club. Issei was silent while Ravel explained to him that they could use the club so that their series could be recorded faster and that even the members of the same could act in the series, pleased Issei a little. Upon arriving at the choir club, a violin could be heard that sounded a bit bad, but that did not matter to the brown-haired boy, so he decided to knock on the door, and in a few seconds it was opened by a girl with long dark blue hair that reaches her chest and blue eyes of the same color, looking curiously at Issei, because she knew the fame of the brown-haired boy, but recently she wanted the perverted trio to join her club since she saw the video of them singing. Come in, Hyoudou-senpai, said the young woman, although her companions did not look very convinced that the perverted beast Kuo entered the club. Of course, in fact I would like to talk to you about something important, said the brown-haired boy entering with Ravel, who saw Issei quite seriously. And what do you want to talk about, senpai? Asked this time a brunette with short hair and dark brown eyes. Do you want to join the club? Asked the other girl with greenish brown hair and eyes of the same color. You see, I'm not very aware of the situation, but I understand that you want to form the choir club, said the brown-haired boy, receiving a nod from all of them. As you know, a club in this academy needs at least 4 members, and there are 3 of you. This made the girls lower their gaze, somewhat sad. I want to ask, if it's not too much trouble, what is the reason for forming the club? Concluded the brown-haired boy. Dear senpai, that matter is a bit private, so said the brunette, but was interrupted by the blue-haired girl. Let me tell you, it seems that Hyoudou-senpai has an idea, so I'll tell you, the girl said somewhat seriously, while Issei was a little impressed because the girl had read it, since he did indeed have a plan. I used to play the violin when I was a child and even won awards for it, but one day we had an accident, and although nothing serious happened, I lost the grip of my hand, she said as she raised the violin to show that her grip was indeed weak. I got very depressed because of that and lost my life goal. I was devastated, but my friends had an idea to create the choir club since we are good at singing, but the lack of members means I can't open my club, she said sadly. So senpai, please join my club along with your 2 friends Mitsuda and Motohama. I am aware of your reputation, but I know that deep down you are good people, so help me senpai, she said as tears fell down her cheeks. I'm sorry but I want to revive the Academy's drama club and I have enough members to do it, Issei said in a serious tone which discouraged the girls, but as you said I have an idea that benefits both of us. This raised everyone's spirits again as they saw the brown-haired boy smile gently at them. Let's create the drama club and choir, that way we will be complete both clubs as one, said the brown-haired boy, but one of them raised his hand with clear doubt. Hyoudou-senpai, I would like to ask you, what does the choir have to do with the theater? He asked with genuine curiosity. You see, the plan is simple, you know, there are plays with music being played and sung while acting, so we can try it, said the brown-haired boy calmly, since he had already been to some plays in the past, so he knew a little about the subject. Awesome, the rumors about you must be false because someone so intelligent can't be a pervert, the girl replied, impressed. In reality, several of those rumors are true. I was indeed a pervert along with my classmates, but that's a thing of the past. Now we've matured and realized our mistakes, so a club like the theater club would be good for a new beginning, said the brown-haired boy with a little sadness at the beginning, because if he had the opportunity, he would travel to the past to beat up his past self. It's good to know that senpai has changed for the better. We knew that when we saw the videos of you three singing. Sincerely, if we join the clubs we have the opportunity to destroy your old reputation and create a new one, he said the blue-haired girl happily. Well, with that said, I'm leaving to let the rest know that now both clubs will be one. See you my cowhace, said the brown-haired boy leaving the club with Ravel, who the whole time remained silent next to the brown-haired boy because she was very impressed by the mature way of fixing things that the brown-haired boy had done. When they arrived at the place where Nagisa and the rest were still gathered, Sunohara could be seen talking on the phone, and when she saw Issei she ran towards him, hanging up the call. Issei, I had a great idea. We'll play a basketball game against a basketball club to show the choir club that we're a good team in everything we do. That way, they'll give us Azazel-sensei. The blonde boy said to the brown-haired boy, not noticing the young blonde girl next to Issei. There is no need, we decided to merge the clubs so that we both benefit, said the chestnut calmly. Then everything I did was in vain, damn it, I've already committed us to an unnecessary game, said Sunohara, somewhat frustrated for having done something totally unnecessary. Don't worry Sunohara, in fact it sounds good, we'll have a game against a basketball team since you took the trouble to help, at least I'll play the game, Issei said calmly. Thanks Issei, I knew you would understand, said the blonde while crying with joy. Well, let's give it our all. He suddenly got excited, thought the brown-haired boy, while Drake agreed with him. By the way, Issei-kun, who is she? Nagisa asked the brown-haired boy. Let me introduce you to another member of the choir and drama club, she is Ravel Phoenix, she is a second-year student and she will be the vice president of the club since she has more experience in that field, said the brown-haired boy while the others approached to welcome the young Phoenix to the club. Issei-kun, you're going to be the club president, right? Aika asked curiously, as Issei fit the role perfectly. If you think it's okay, I'd like to be one since I have several ideas for the club, Issei said while the rest nodded happily. After that Issei went with Azazel to inform him about the merger of clubs, which the Fallen was happy about and thanked him for making the best decision for both parties. Then the brown-haired boy left class to meet with the choir club to talk about the organization of the club but was stopped by Nagisa, who wanted to thank him for helping him, but at that moment a small girl with dark blue hair tied in two pigtails with yellow ribbons, a white skirt and a blue blouse. Excuse me, do you know where Sunohara is? The little girl asked. Huineers? Nagisa asked curiously. Your little sister, Sunohara, he said with a smile while Issei and Nagisa were shocked, but Issei reacted quickly. I see, let's go, he's in the club, now follow us, said Issei, while Mei nodded a little curious because she remembered that her brother hated clubs. Upon arriving, Issei signaled to Mei to wait at the side of the door and after entering he gave Aiko a look, making it clear that he was going to play a joke on Sunohara, which she quickly understood. We're here now, hey Sunohara, a cute girl who loves you a lot is looking for you outside, he said with some malice, hoping that Sunohara would fall for the joke, but he didn't expect the blonde to answer. Well tell him I'm busy and I'm not going out because I'm at the club with my girlfriend, said the blonde while hugging Aika, who blushed a lot, while Mei pushed Issei aside and looked at her brother surprised saying. Ani-chan, do you have a girlfriend? The little blue-haired girl asked incredulously. Yes, Mei-chan, I'll introduce you to her, she's Aika Kiryu, the blonde introduced with emotion in her words. It's a pleasure to meet you Hei-kun's little sister, Aika said, blushing. She is very beautiful Mei said quietly, but everyone present heard it. Thank you, you're beautiful too, Mei-chan, said Aika, a little awkward and embarrassed. Such a cute girl and with my brother poor thing he said hugging Aika quickly causing her to blush more. What do you mean by that? The blonde snorted angrily. Yeah Hei-kun, don't be mad at your little sister, I'm happy to meet her, Aika said, smiling happily. Well, leaving aside the family meeting, I wanted to talk about the club, Azazel, and I like the idea of merging the clubs, so from now on we are all club members, said the brown-haired boy. Hi Issei Butcho, they all said in unison including May, to which Issei replied. You know, just call me Issei. It feels weird to call me like that, said the brown-haired boy, remembering that he used to address a certain redeed like that. After that they discussed the club's schedules and activities. For their part the chorus agreed that their senpai should be the president of the club, so there were no complaints about it, and finishing the discussions everyone was preparing to leave, but Sunohara spoke. May, do you have somewhere to stay tonight because I can't allow you to stay in the academy dormitories, the blonde said seriously. Actually I was thinking of staying there, said the blue-haired girl, a little uneasy. If you think it's okay, you can stay at my house May-chan, said Aika hugging May tenderly because she always wanted a younger sister. Are you sure Aika-chan? Wouldn't it be too much trouble? The blonde asked his girlfriend about him. Yes, I want to get to know May-chan better, she said while hugging May in a very motherly way. Seriously, I want to meet An-chan too. That made Aika blush a little, but she nodded in response while taking her hand. Aika-chan, thank you for taking care of my little sister, she said, bowing and gesturing gratefully. It's nothing Yuhei-kun, anyway I want to meet your whole family someday, he said, without noticing how her blonde turned red like the hair of a certain princess of the Crimson Ruin. Odd, in that case let me accompany them to your house to carry their suitcase and thank your parents, said Sunohara still blushing. Okay, let's go, said the brunette leaving the place as they left, leaving Issei next to Nagisa, who saw all that and looked happy. They left without saying goodbye. Hahaha, at this rate this will become typical for me, said the brown-haired boy, remembering how everyone hung up on him, or when he left Azazel and the Mayu Beelzebub in the underworld without saying goodbye. Issei-kun, let's go to my house. I want to tell my parents something and I want you to eat, said the brunette, a little embarrassed, something that didn't go unnoticed by the brown-haired boy. Let me send a message to Asia that I won't be going to dinner at the house so that my parents don't worry, said the brown-haired boy, but immediately Nagisa said. Do you live in the same house as Asia-chan? I asked, somewhat shocked. Yes, when she transferred from her I helped her with something, and after that I asked my parents if she could stay, and they became very fond of her, so they want to adopt her, said the brown-haired boy looking at Nagisa still impressed. Are you planning to adopt her? Perhaps. She didn't finish saying when Issei interrupted her. Asia is an orphan, so when my parents found out they decided to adopt her, and to be honest about her, I love her like a little sister, even though I already have a little sister, said the brown-haired boy while scratching his cheek. I see you have a little sister, what is her name? Nagisa asked. It's her, said the brown-haired boy while showing him a photo with his cell phone where he, his parents human of course Asia and a little black-haired girl, appeared hugging the brown-haired boy tenderly. Her name is Lilith and she's a sweetheart, said the brown-haired boy while happily looking at the photograph. How pretty, I want to meet her, said Nagisa while looking at Issei expectantly. If you want from her, we can go pick her up at my house so you can meet her, said the brown-haired boy, receiving a nod from Nagisa. Okay, let's go, Issei said. After walking and talking about what plays they were going to perform, they continued walking until they reached the Chestnut Tree's house, which Nagisa was stunned to see, and it was no wonder the Chestnut Tree's house was almost a 6-story mansion. You live here, Issei-kun? The brunette asked in shock. Yeah, at that moment his brain clicked and he realized that he brought Nagisa to his house without remembering that it had been like that for a year now and no one, not even Mitsuda or Motohama had ever come, so it was understandable that Nagisa was paralyzed by the impression. Shit, what did I just do, the young man thought. Comrade, that's because you're distracted by too many things, clear your mind at least for a moment, said the Welsh dragon to the brown-haired boy. Okay, Nagisa-chan, let's go in, said the brown-haired boy, opening the door to be knocked down to the ground by a little brunette in a black frilly dress with red details. Ani-chan, you're here, she said happily as the brown-haired boy stood up and took her in his arms. Yes, I'm already home, Lilith-tan, and I brought a friend. I want to introduce her to you. She is Furukawa Nagisa, my classmate and member of the drama and choir club, said the brown-haired boy, putting down the little black-haired girl who approached the brown-haired girl. I'm Hyoudou Lilith, do you want to play Wani-chan? The dragon said happily without noticing how Nagisa blushed but immediately took her in his arms. It's a pleasure, Lilith-chan, and of course I want to play with you, said Nagisa, while the brown-haired boy gave him the pass to his home. Already in the living room were Issei's parents, who upon seeing Nagisa were surprised since they did not know her but immediately welcomed her. Hello, I'm Furukawa Nagisa. I'm Issei-kun's friend and classmate. I'm also in the same club as Issei-kun. She introduced herself to Issei's parents. Nice to meet you, miss. My name is Hyoudou Shizuka. Thank you for taking care of my son. Issei's mother introduced herself. The pleasure is mine, Issei-kun is the one who always takes care of me, said Nagisa somewhat embarrassed. Nice to meet you Nagisa-san, my name is Hyoudou Issei. Make yourself at home, said the older brown-haired boy. Thank you very much, by the way, can I ask you in favor? Nagisa said timidly. Of course, whatever, dear, said the chestnut's mother. We can take Lilith-chan for a walk for a while, said Nagisa a little nervously. Of course, even if you want, you can stay at your house, of course, if your parents give you permission, said Issei's father now. Don't worry Dad, Nagisa's parents will be delighted to accept said Issei while laughing a little because despite having just met them, he already appreciated them and knew them well enough. Okay Nagisa, let's go to your house. Hey, come on, Lilith-chan, you're going to have a lot of fun, said the brunette as she took the little black-haired girl by the hand. Yes, let's go said the little black-haired girl tenderly while also taking her brown-haired boy's hand. Upon leaving the place, the three of them were walking together down the street holding hands and in the distance, both the little black-haired girl and the brown-haired boy heard the ladies saying that they made a nice family, something that made the brown-haired boy blush a little, but he knew how to hide it, while Drag inside the boosted gear said to the brown-haired boy. Comrade, it seems that good days will finally come, I hope you can soon tell her how you feel. Drag what are you saying damn I can't let my guard down with you, I hope it doesn't show so much sigh, I hope it doesn't scare him knowing what I am the brown-haired boy said mentally to the Welsh dragon. Issei-kun said Nagisa making Issei pay attention, I want to ask you in favor, but I would like to do it until I get home, but better said the brunette cutting off the last thing still nervous. Tell me Nagisa-chan what you need, don't worry, say it with confidence, said the brown-haired boy. We're going to have a picnic this weekend, so I want you to eat, Nagisa said, even more nervous. Of course not, said the brown-haired boy happily this could be a good opportunity, thought the brown-haired boy, while the Welsh dragon nodded inside the boosted gear. I want to go too, Nagisa Oni-chan, Ani-chan, said Lilith using humanity's most powerful weapon the weapon that has brought down thousands the fearsome puppy eyes. Of course Lilith-chan, you can eat too, Nagisa said excitedly. Yay, I'm going on a picnic what is a picnic? She asked, taking a drop on the back of the neck of those present and making Issei smile tenderly at the little black-haired girl. It will be something you will discover when you go, Lilith-tan, said the brown-haired boy, making the little black-haired girl even more excited. After walking a little more they arrived at Nagisa's bakery and house. It must be said that Lilith ran into the place and began to look at the breads excitedly. I'm home said the brunette announcing her arrival. Good night said the happy brown-haired boy. Hey, Issei-san, how have you been? Who's the little girl? Nagisa's mother said, quite happy. Wow, how pretty said little Lilith. Thank you very much he said smiling. Are you Nagisa's sister, Wani-chan? He asked with complete innocence worthy of a child. No, I'm her mother she said impressing the little dragon. Wow, really said the little girl, still shocked. What's going on? What's this commotion? Said Nagisa's father. Dad, Mom, I want to ask you please, Nagisa said determinedly. What's all the formality? Do you want to know the meaning of the scar on your butt? Said Nagisa's father. No, that's not what I wanted to ask do I have a scar there? You didn't know? If you want to confirm it, let me look at it, Nagisa's father said, but for some reason Issei looked slightly annoyed, but then relaxed a little. Dad, you're a pervert I'm too big to show you my ass said Nagisa, and white and embarrassed. Now Akio-san hates you, said Nagisa's mother. That's why I don't like daughters, said Nagisa's father somewhat seriously. I would show it to Mom, I want her to check it out, said Nagisa, blushing and embarrassed. Don't worry, Nagisa is just kidding you, said the older brunette, making Nagisa lose her blush in surprise and then get angry. You lied to me again, Dad Nagisa shouted angrily while Nagisa's father laughed lightly. It's my way of fixing the lack of communication he said smiling at his joke while Issei laughed lightly next to Lilith. Wow, they get along very well said little Lilith. Isn't it great Lilith-tan? This is Nagisa's family's specialty, jokes and funny conversations, Issei said laughing a little. I almost forgot, I'm sorry, Lilith-chan, said Nagisa. This is Hyoudou, Lilith-chan. She's Issei-kun's younger sister. Can she spend the night here? I want to play with her. Asked the brunette. Eshigoshito, said the black-haired girl while waving and smiling happily. I'm Sani, nice to meet you said the older brunette. I'm Akio, there's no one more handsome than me around, said the light-reed happily. How pretty is your mom Nagisa Wani-chan and your dad is great, said the little dragon. You're such a good girl. Do you want 100,000 yen as pay? Nagisa's father said very happily. You're too generous old man said Issei. But that said they entered the house and Nagisa started playing until nightfall with Lilith who was happier than ever since, despite being a dragon goddess she was just an infant after all. After that they invited Issei to dinner where he told them about the opening of the theater club and how Sunohara had committed them to a basketball meeting. Go play basketball, Ani-chan, said the black-haired girl. I'd like to see it, said the little dragon excitedly. Well, you're going to see your Ani-chan play like never before, said the brown-haired boy while making an epic pose. Shy, I want to see Ani-chan win, said the black-haired girl, like when you defeated the bad dragon, she said the last thing, making Issei tense up. Are you an evil dragon? You get excited about a video game, wait until you see the great Akio play baseball, and you'll get excited, said Nagisa's father, making Issei relax. I wanted to tell you that I invited Issei-kun and Lilith-chan to the weekend picnic, Nagisa said excitedly. That's great, the more the merrier, and I wanted to invite you all anyway, said the older brunette. Okay, Lilith-tan, we'll play baseball so you can see that I'm the best, Nagisa's father said excitedly. Shy, but Ani-chan will one day be number one, said the brunette happily. Your little sister Ethanol really loves you, said Akio amused. Sigh, I love her too, well I'll go home to sleep, said the brown-haired boy, but I don't expect that. Are you not going to stay here to sleep, said Nagisa's mother. In fact, I wanted you to stay and play cards, Nagisa's father said now. Well, if you insist, I'll stay aside. I'll show you that I'm number 1 in 21 blackjack, said the excited brown-haired boy. Chapter 7. The basketball game. Your little sister Ethanol really loves you, said Akio amused. Sigh, I love her too, well I'll go home to sleep, said the brown-haired boy, but I don't expect that. Are you not going to stay here to sleep, said Nagisa's mother. In fact, I wanted you to stay and play cards, Nagisa's father said now. Well, if you insist, I'll stay aside. I'll show you that I'm number 1 in 21 blackjack, said the excited brown-haired boy. After hours, only one result could be given, and that was that the brown-haired boy lost brutally against Akio in all the card games. To top it off, Drake made fun of him during all the games because he couldn't win, and the worst thing was that after 3 games, little Lilith supported Akio in every game, which depressed the brown-haired boy who was consoled by Nagisa. Yes, Issei-kun, you gave your best effort, said the young brunette. Ahaha, no one can beat the invincible Akio, he said mockingly. Aki is the best, said Lilith, causing more depression in the brown-haired boy. It must be said that she gave that nickname to Nagisa's father. Arm wrestling, said the brown-haired boy in a serious tone. I challenge you to arm wrestling. I challenge the light reed. I have an arm wrestling match. You couldn't beat me. I'm stronger, he said seriously. Well, let's see if it's true, said the brown-haired boy as he put his arm on the table. This will be fun. Sandy, prepare the ice, she'll need it, he said mockingly and completely confident. Don't accept it, Nagisa said worriedly. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt him too much, said Akio. Let's go on the count of 3, you do it Lilith-tan, said the brown-haired boy even more seriously. Fresh, 1, go, said the brunette so that Akio could apply a little force, but the brown-haired boy didn't even flinch. Akio used more and more force, but the brown-haired boy didn't move even a little. Come on, that's all, old man, you wouldn't beat me, the brown-haired boy said mockingly. It seems you're not a weakling. Well, feel all my strength, said the light reed seriously and then used a lot of force. Well, I got bored fools, said the brown-haired boy as with a single movement he defeated Nagisa's father, who looked at him impressed and happy. Haha, it seems that you are much stronger than you appear, he said happily and smiling, but you can't beat me in cards or baseball, he said in a mocking tone. And what about you, could you beat me at chess because you know I'm very good? Said the brown-haired boy mockingly. This night will be long, said the light reed, but they were interrupted by Sandy, who was carrying little Lilith in her arms, who was already curled up sleeping in a tender way worthy of an infant. Shhh, be quiet and go to sleep because tomorrow you have to go to school, he said, looking at Nagisa and Issei. They just acknowledged, and Nagisa guided Issei to the room where he would go to sleep. After arriving at the room and seeing the futon already ready, he told Nagisa that he would go get a change of uniform and pajamas, so he left the house and was already a block away and began to run quite quickly, but he remembered that he did not live far from Nagisa's house. In fact, they lived only a kilometer away, and due to his speed, he would arrive in a matter of seconds. After arriving, he went up to his room and took his change of uniform and pajamas, and then went to get a change of clothes for Lilith, since they forgot to bring their changes of clothes. After that, he ran back to Nagisa's house, but already slower, but he still arrived in a matter of minutes, which Nagisa missed, but he remembered that Issei was in pretty good physical condition, so he didn't ask anything. For her part, Sandy received a change of clothes for Lilith and mentioned to her that in the morning she would go with Nagisa and Issei to the academy, since they would have their game against the basketball club. After all that matter, she went to sleep, but even so, she was very worried. Her body was sleeping and he continued training inside the boosted gear. In the morning he got up from his futon to find Nagisa outside his room. Issei-kun, good morning, the brunette said happily. Good morning, Nagisa-chan, the brown-haired boy answered, still yawning. Issei-kun, the bath is ready, Lilith-chan has already bathed, you're the only one missing, said Nagisa's mother from the bathroom. I'll be there soon, the brown-haired boy answered as he took his uniform and Nagisa handed him a towel. After taking a bath, the brown-haired boy all had breakfast together because the bakery was not going to open that day since they had to go to their previous city to take care of some matters, so they would not be there that day until the afternoon. After breakfast, they said goodbye to go to the academy while Issei carried Lilith on his shoulders and she laughed happily. At one point, they met Sunohara, who, upon seeing little Lilith, became curious. "Hello Issei, hello Nagisa-chan, how are you?" said the blonde to the pair of brown-haired boys. "Well, and you, Sunohara-san," said the pair of brown-haired girls. "Well, hey, who's the little girl on your shoulders?" he said, pointing at Lilith, who waved at him. "She is my little sister, her name is Hyoudou Lilith." "So you also have a younger sister and why is she coming with you today?" the blonde asked with great curiosity. "He's coming to see the basketball game. He's really looking forward to seeing us play," she said as the brunette nodded several times excitedly. "Well now we can't lose for anything in the world," he said as he watched Aika and Mei arrive together. "Good morning Yahei-kun, Nagisa-chan," Issei greeted the brown-haired girl with pigtails. "Good morning Aika-chan, Mei-chan." Mei-chan replied Sunohara, Nagisa and Issei respectively. "Issei, who is the little girl on your shoulders?" Aika asked as Mei looked on curiously. "Her name is Hyoudou Lilith and she is my little sister." "You have a younger sister, wow, I didn't expect that," said the brunette with pigtails, while Issei lowered Lilith from his shoulders and she approached Mei to take her hand. "Do you want to play with me?" she said making puppy eyes which made Mei hug her and nod happily as they walked happily. After a while they arrived at the academy and from there Issei took Lilith to the student council room to be taken care of and they accepted especially Momo and Saji, who began to play with little Lilith along with Mei. After classes all the members of the drama club along with Mei with Lilith next to her and the basketball players were in the gym. The drama club for its part would play Issei, Sunohara, Mitsuda and Motohama while the other team would play the first-year rookies, but for some reason, Mitsuda was very upset. "Listen, we have to win at all costs," said the bald man, annoyed. "Damn, he's very angry," said Issei. "Did something happen?" Sunohara asked. "One of the basketball club made fun of all of us," Motohama said very seriously. "Yeah, he told me that a bunch of perverts can't beat them and that this was the chance to humiliate us," said the bald guy. Don't hurt yourself," Issei-kun, Nagisa said to a little worried. "Don't worry, leave it in my hands," said the motivated brown-haired boy. In the stands, several students watched the teams prepare while they talked about what was happening. The game between the perverted trio and the new one against the basketball club. One questioned. "This looks interesting," said another. Back with the players who were preparing to play. "The match will be 20 minutes long with no timeouts, apart from that the rules will be the same as a normal game, understood?" said the club captain. "But the girls from the drama club." Nagisa-on-chan said little Lilith. "Yes, what's up?" answered the chestnut. "Is Ani-chan going to win?" the black-haired girl asked. "Let's hope so, Lilith-chan," Nagisa said, concentrating. The match is about to begin. With all the players in their positions, the captain of the basketball club blew the whistle, thus starting the game. Issei quickly dodged one of the basketball players, who was impressed, saying how fast Issei suddenly passed to Sunohara, who then passed to Motohama, who scored on the spot. After that, several points were made by the boys from the drama club, making the first-year rookies look ridiculous. Right in the middle of the game, the captain asked for a change, bringing in himself and 3 others, who were the stars of the academy team. "And now they take out the best of the team, hey," said Issei excitedly. "It was to be expected, partner, now show these humans that a dragon will never let itself be defeated," said Drag inside the brown-haired boy's mind. "And that's better, right?" Sunohara said while sweating a lot. "Sunohara, will you hold on?" Issei asked worriedly. "Don't worry, this is nothing," the motivated blonde replied. After that the game resumed, but the team captain quickly dodged Mitsuda, Motohama and Sunohara, but before reaching the basket, Issei jumped and threw the ball to the other hoop, scoring from far away. "Don't even think about underestimating us or you'll regret it," said the brown-haired boy quite seriously, while everyone in the stands shouted effusively at the brown-haired boy's statement. After that the game began to be closer between the teams, every time one took the lead the other tied while Mitsuda, Motohama and Sunohara were clearly exhausted, only Issei still had energy, but the captain of the basketball team scored another shot, leaving the theater club at a disadvantage. 20 seconds left, said Nagisa worriedly. "Come on, cheer up," shouted Mei, encouraging the team. "Let's go on, Ani-chan," Lilith shouted with all her might. "Damn, everyone is tired, I'll have to do it," thought the brown-haired boy with frustration as he jumped to throw the ball. "Don't even dream about it," said the club captain standing in front of the chestnut, making him fall. "Damn, another failure in my life," thought the brown-haired boy while he was still falling, but a voice took him out of his thoughts. Issei-kun pulls, Nagisa shouted with all his might, and then Issei threw the ball up high, causing it to hit the hoop, but rise a little, falling inside the hoop, while Nagisa looked clearly excited. At that moment the whistle blew, and the game ended with the triumph of the drama club over the basketball club, causing an effusive shout from all the students present who shouted words of encouragement to the winning team. Issei looked like something he never imagined would happen, and that was that the students of the academy showed admiration for him and his friends, who until a few days ago they hated with great desire. Clearly heard how many girls said that the perverted trio had changed and that it was for the better because they no longer spy on the girls and dedicated themselves to better things, such as sports, singing or even acting, since they were members of the newly revived drama club. For her part, Aika ran in the direction of Sunohara, hugging him on the spot and giving him a kiss in front of everyone, causing even more commotion for what happened. Nagisa, for her part, stared at Issei, slightly blushed, and with emotions that were getting bigger and bigger, and in her eyes, you could clearly see a special shine, which reflected a simple but at the same time feeling complicated time. That feeling that causes happiness and misfortune, the purest and noblest of all feelings, love. After winning the match, the members of the drama club, except for the chorus and Ravel members since the latter had matters to attend regarding the series, accompanied May to the train station where she would leave for her hometown. "Thank you very much everyone," said May, speaking to the club members. "It would have been great if you could stay longer, Lilith Tan is going to miss you," said the brown-haired boy as the little dragon approached. "You promised me that you would come back," she said as a few small tears came out of her eyes. "I promise, Lilith-chan, next time we'll have a lot of fun," May said happily, to which Lilith nodded, now calmer. "My parents want you to come back soon, they love you very much," Aika said as she hugged her. "May, how have I been?" Sunohara asked her sister. "Towards the end you didn't do anything," she said thoughtfully while the blonde became sad, "but you were great," he said very happily. "Take care of Aika, Wani-chan," he said in a serious tone. "If I promise you, I'll make her the happiest girl in the world," he said as he hugged his girlfriend while she blushed a lot. "I'll be back as soon as I have time, I promise, see you later," said May, saying goodbye and getting on the train. "Be careful," said Sunohara. Her sister answered happily. After the train left. "There it goes, how fast it went," said Sunohara somewhat melancholy. "But he promised he would come back," Aika said, comforting her boyfriend. "Let's go celebrate," Nagisa said happily. "So where?" Mitsuda asked. "The karaoke," answered the brown-haired boy. "The karaoke, great," Sunohara shouted the last with excitement because for him that place was special, there he met his first girlfriend, his first love. On the way to karaoke they could see how a couple of people were playing tennis on a court, so they went over to see. Everyone was watching the game curiously in pairs and excitedly enjoying how the game was going. Caillou was next to Mitsuda while unconsciously leaning his head on the bald man's shoulder while smiling watching the game. Ryu for his part was next to Motohama while she clung to the black-haired man with glasses without realizing it, and he put his right hand on one of her shoulders. Sunohara and Aika hugged each other while smiling happily watching the game. Nagisa was next to Issei, happy, while a slight blush dyed her cheeks. For his part, Issei thought if that was the right moment to express what he felt, but at the same time he knew that he was rushing things. The game was very close between the two players, but a miscalculation made one of them throw the ball in the direction of Nagisa. The ball was dangerously close to her, but just before touching it, Issei was already holding the ball with his hand, without realizing that he was hugging Nagisa by the waist with his other free hand. The player approached Nagisa and Issei to apologize for his mistake. "I'm sorry, are you okay?" he asked worriedly. "Don't worry, these things happen, don't worry," said the brown-haired boy calmly. "Issei-kun, are you okay? Doesn't your hand hurt?" Nagisa asked, blushing quite a bit since Issei still hadn't let go of her. "If I feel fine, don't worry," he said as he handed the ball to the player, noticing that his hand was indeed fine, for obvious reasons he knew why. "Nice catch, mate, I congratulate the Welsh dragon," to Issei. "Thanks, Drag, but you know I wasn't going that fast." Just at that moment he slowly let go of Nagisa because he noticed that he was still hugging her. "I almost missed her, are you okay, Nagisa?" the brown-haired boy asked. "Issei-kun, thank you," said the brunette while hugging him. Wani-chan, are you okay?" asked a little black-haired girl while hugging both of them by the legs. "Yes, we're okay, Lilith Tan," I replied. "Well, let's go to karaoke," the brown-haired boy said out loud while everyone agreed. So they began to walk until they reached the karaoke and rented the room from last time and began to sing, being the first Mitsuda and Caillou, who sang The Scientist by Coldplay, while the rest watched as both made a perfect duet and shared the same microphone. It was there when Ryu realized that his sister had fallen in love with the bald young man who was noticeable since he met her that he was captivated by the charm of the young woman with long purple hair. After finishing, it was the turn of Sunohara and Aika, who sang I Love by Azusa. Well, they did it close and also with a single microphone. Everyone present could see that the song was dedicated by Aika to Sunohara and vice versa. When it finished everyone applauded, and so it was the turn of Motohama and Ryu, who also sang with a single microphone Sparkling Daydream by Zack. Well, Caillou noticed that his sister dedicated to Motohama glances that betrayed her feelings for the black-haired man with glasses, but he saw that it was the same because he saw that the young man looked with love for his sister who gave him an idea. After finishing they all applauded, and it was Issei and Nagisa's turn which sang Two Shadows by Ria, but unlike the rest they each sang with a microphone, but if everyone noticed something it was Nagisa and Issei's blushing, because they looked shy while singing at that moment. All the spectators looked at each other, and one look was enough for them to nod, implying that they planned to help their two friends progress because they knew that Issei since he met Nagisa, he seemed interested in her, but recently they noticed the closeness of both and how Nagisa blushed slightly when looking at Issei in class, so the idea was general, and that was to help them. After finishing Sunohara, Mitsuda and Motohama asked Issei to accompany them outside because they wanted to talk about something, but they wanted it to be in private, so they left the karaoke while the girls approached Nagisa to talk about something important. With Issei, the boys were outside the karaoke gathered together while Issei looked at them strangely because they seemed to be planning something. Issei, you see, there is something we want to talk about and it should be now, Sunohara said in a serious tone. And what is it about, Sunohara? The brown-haired boy asked, a little curious. You see Issei, to tell the truth I'm in love with Caillou, said the bald man quite nervously. Not only that, I'm in love with Ryu, and that's why we wanted to talk to you, Issei, said the black-haired man with glasses. I understand, guys, you want to confess your feelings to them, and you asked for my and Sunohara's help, the brown-haired boy said calmly, but Sunohara's hand on his shoulder made him wonder. Issei, we know what you feel for Nagisa, and that's why we want to help you, and also for them to confess their feelings, said Sunohara with a smile. It's so obvious. Well, do you have any good ideas because I can't think of anything, said the brown-haired boy. I have no idea what to do, said Mitsuda. I'm in the same boat, I don't know what to do, Motohama said, somewhat distressed. I have an idea, but I don't know if you like it, said the blonde, gaining the attention of the others. What is it? I'm sure it will be a good idea, Issei said, quite interested. Well, it occurred to me that after performing at the festival, they'll have a singing event at the academy, and you've already decided to sing there, right? Said the blonde, receiving a nod from the rest. Well, I was thinking that you should dedicate a song to the girls and then declare your love to them. It seems like a good idea, but I would be embarrassed to declare myself in front of so many people, said the brown-haired boy, while Mitsuda and Motohama agreed. Well, at least dedicating a song to the girls you love wouldn't be bad, right? Said the blonde while the trio of lovers determinedly agreed. Well, what are we going to sing, Issei, Mitsuda? Asked the black-haired man with glasses. Guys, I suggest we sing 2 songs. Nami wo Yobuyo and Warmness on the Soul, said the bald man of the group. Those are very good, we could try, said the brown-haired boy this time, more motivated. Guys, do you know how to play any instruments? I know how to play the bass, said Sunohara. Well, I play the guitar and the piano, Mitsuda plays the drums, and Motohama plays the guitar, said the brown-haired boy. Why don't we play those songs for the girls instead? Sunohara said excitedly. I think the same would be a good idea, said the bald young man. Well, it's decided, we'll play at the Founders Festival. Guys, let's give it our best shot, said the motivated brown-haired boy. Well, let's go inside with the girls. Wait, Issei, we should meet to talk about this in more detail, Mitsuda said in a serious tone. Come to my house, we could spend the night talking about this and playing video games, Issei said happily, receiving a nod from the rest. I'll bring the snacks, Issei, said Sunohara, giving her thumbs up. I'll bring one of my consoles and the refreshments, Motohama said adjusting his glasses. I'll bring some movies, it never hurts to watch one, Mitsuda said while placing his hands behind his neck. Well, now let's go with the girls, Issei said excitedly. But Nagisa. Nagisa, you know there's something we need to talk about, said the long-haired twin. Really? What is it about? The brunette asked with doubt because it seemed strange to her that Caillou spoke like that. Well, let's get straight to the point. We know how you feel about Issei, Aika said now, causing Nagisa to blush and smoke to appear on her head. But how did they find out? She screamed, quite embarrassed, and then asked a little shyly. It was obvious, Nagisa, you know you only act very attached to Issei, and you always sit with him at mealtimes, and not only that, there are many other things that gave you away, Caillou said, a little malicious in his tone of voice. To tell you the truth, Ryu raised his hand sadly, I noticed that, sister, and in fact, said Caillou calmly and began to blush, and I am in love with Yasu, Aki-kun, she said awkwardly as she sat next to her sister. Okay girls, we need to think of a way to make them confess their feelings for the boys, Aika said with a mischievous smile, but none of them noticed. We could have a sleepover at my house to talk about this. I'm sure it will be more private than here, Nagisa said, still blushing. Well decided tonight we're going to Nagisa's house said Caillou, while the rest agreed. I'm going to tell my parents said Aika leaving the room. Issei and company at that moment entered the premises running into Aika, who took Sunohara by the arm taking him outside, while the boys passed by, because they did not want to bother the couple in love. Once outside the premises Aika prepared to talk to Sunohara. Hey-kun, today I'm going to spend the night at Nagisa's house because we're going to talk about how they feel about boys, Aika said, being honest with her boyfriend. Aika-chan, I'm also going to spend the night at Issei's house to talk about how they feel about girls, said the blonde, taking his girlfriend's hands from her. Let's make them be together, said the brunette looking into the blonde's eyes. Thanks to them we are together so it's the least we can do, let's support our friends, said Sunohara looking at his girlfriend fixedly, while they closed the proximity between them more and more until they kissed a little passionately. After that they entered the karaoke room seeing how the boys and girls talked, pretending that nothing had happened, but their blushes and their clumsy way of speaking gave them away completely after they retired to their houses to prepare for the meetings they would have. Underworld Phoenix Castle. Ravel was sitting next to her parents while looking at some documents on a small table in front of her. After reading them she sighed in tiredness because the new series and Issei's movie took up a lot of preparation time and did not give her time to rest. However, she saw a document that she had not read before, which was a letter from the Council of the Underworld, and when she read it, she got a shocking surprise. I'm engaged to Issei-sama, she screamed at the top of her lungs, quite blushed, leaving her parents almost deaf. N.A. Here Ravel was not engaged to Issei unlike canon. Without a doubt, life had several more surprises for the young Sekiryu, and this was only about to begin. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.